Chapter 141. A philosopher once said, "What lessons can we learn from history? The only lesson we can learn from history is that we can't learn any lesson from history." Fang Yin used this as a pretext to continue educating his students. Why did Xiang Yu commit suicide at the Wu River? How could a man like Liu Bang defeat the overlord and seize the world? The banquet at Hongmen was a key turning point. Let's think about it. If Xiang Yu had chosen to kill Liu Bang instead of being merciful, would fate have been reversed? Would history have been rewritten? Would the people standing here today still be the people standing here today? Fang Yin looked at Zhang Yu and said, "Miss Zhang, since you also want to lead the students to learn the chapter of the banquet at Hongmen, why don't we discuss? If you were Xiang Yu, would you choose to kill Liu Bang at the banquet at Hongmen?" "Of course," Zhang Yu said grumpily. "Only an idiot wouldn't kill him." Anyone with common sense in history knew that if Xiang Yu had killed Liu Bang at the banquet at Hongmen, then with Xiang Yu's strength and reputation, it would have been the Xiang family who conquered the Qin dynasty. It was a pity, and a pity. Fang Yin looked at Zhang Yu thoughtfully and said, "I think so too." "What kind of look is that? What kind of look is that? Does he think I am Xiang Yu? Does he think I am Liu Bang?" Fang Yin frowned and said, "Miss Zhang, as teachers, you and I should set an example and pass on the truth, kindness, and beauty in our hearts to our students, so that they can learn knowledge and skills and also be moral and cultured people. Isn't it inappropriate for you to call me by my name? I can call you Octopus Monster, but will I do that? Obviously not. I am cultured, so I will only call you Miss Zhang." "Fang Yin, you have gone too far." Zhang Yu was really mad. In the past, he had only heard that Fang Yin had a vicious mouth and an eccentric personality. Class 1's Shundahai was such a powerful figure, but he was ultimately bullied into a sorry state by him. Even the honor of Class 9's homeroom teacher was stolen by him. Now that he had personally experienced it, he realized that he was indeed cunning and hard to deal with. "Look, you're calling me Fang Yin again. Don't worry, I'm a well-mannered person. No matter what, I won't call you Octopus Monster," Fang Yin said with a smile. "Miss Zhang, I just don't understand. I'm just putting forward some requests and suggestions from fellow practitioner. I hope that we, as teachers, can pass on our positive side to our students, pass on our true, kind, and beautiful side. Is there anything wrong with this? How did I bully others? Ask everyone, how did I bully anyone? Whether it was the students of Class 1 or Class 9, everyone felt that Fang Yin was bullying them. However, it was really difficult for them to explain how Fang Yin bullied people, because everything that Fang Yin said was correct. Even if you bring the lawsuit to the school's leaders, you can't find any fault. Although there were many leaders behind Zhang Yu who appreciated him, Fang Yin also had the strong support of Lu Chaoga. When the two tigers fought, Zhang Yu really couldn't guarantee that he would win. Zhang Yu became calm after his anger. He knew that his current situation was very dangerous. He had completely entered the atmosphere and rhythm created by Fang Yin. He was vilifying himself and turning into a madman without wisdom and quality. He couldn't do this. The war hasn't really started yet. "Mr. Fang." Shouting these 3 words, Zhang Yu's stomach twitched. "Do you know how many virtues there are?" As soon as Zhang Yu asked this question, Fang Yin knew his little calculation in his heart. This idiot really didn't have any experience in fighting. "I don't know which virtues it is exactly, but I know that the first virtue is the virtue of speaking." "I don't understand. I was just trying to persuade Ms. Zhang to be positive and be a good example to the students. How did it become bullying? Ms. Zhang slandered a good person like this. Isn't this not having the virtue of speaking?" Fang Yin asked with a puzzled face. Zhang Yu really wanted to vomit blood this time. It shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be like this. The plot should be like this. After he asked this difficult question, either Fang Yin answered that he didn't know, then it would be the glorious moment for him to show his profound knowledge and improve his self-pretentiousness. Even if Fang Yin answered, it didn't matter. He could use this as a pretext to say that Fang Yin had a vicious heart and a cheap mouth. How could such a character quality be a good example to others? He had buried the pit and was ready to wait for Fang Yin to jump in and bury him. However, why did he have a feeling that he had put his head into the pit? "Change it. Fang Yin, you bastard." Hurry up and change the way you answer. Zhang Yu's heart was like a prairie with 10,000 grass mud horses running wildly. He clearly said that he wouldn't be angry, but in less than a minute, Zhang Yu was so angry that his whole body was trembling. He had the urge to turn around and leave. He couldn't tremble, and he couldn't leave. Even if he lost, he couldn't lose. Mr. Fong, stop talking nonsense. Why do you have to be so eloquent? So what if you win? The school won't give you a trophy. Zhang Yu said with a sneer. We are here to teach, not to quarrel with you. Zhang Yu waved his hand and shouted, Bring it in. As he spoke, a few boys carried a few big wooden boxes in. Change clothes. Zhang Yu shouted. So, the students immediately opened the boxes and took out one robe after another from the box and put them on. Fong Yin was envious and asked, Miss Zhang, where did you get these clothes? I borrowed them from the drama club. Zhang Yu said loudly. He felt that he finally had a chance to hold his head high. Very good. Fong Yin praised sincerely. I didn't think of borrowing clothes from the drama club. Zhang Yu sneered and said, Not everyone can borrow them. That's true. Fong Yin nodded. I heard that the drama club's clothes are very precious. It's very difficult for ordinary people to borrow them. Miss Zhang is the one who has the face. Zhang Yu stared at Fong Yin warily and thought, What trick is this guy playing? Is he trying to cheat people again? Shall we use this place first? Zhang Yu pointed to the spacious Taekwondo club and asked. No. Huang Haoran stopped him. We came here first. Why should you use it first? Exactly. There should be a first come, first served order, right? If we can't use it, you can't use it either. Before Fong Yin had time to speak, the students of the 9th class began to fight back. Do you have the right to speak? Zhang Yu said angrily. I'm discussing with Mr. Fong. Why are you in such a hurry? Since when did you have the right to make decisions? Fong Yin waved his hand and said, Miss Zhang, that's not right. Now it's a legal society. Every child has the right to speak freely. They can express their thoughts and prayers reasonably. This is what we should support and encourage, right? How can you say that they don't have the right to speak? Fong Yin, don't use these students as a shield. Zhang Yu wanted to point at Fong Yin's face and scold him. Are you done or not? Can't we fight with real guns and live ammunition? Why are you pretending to be a good teacher and a good person? What truth, kindness, and beauty are you promoting? Do you have these things? Teacher Zhang, if you put it this way, then I am even more confused. There are no arrows in front of me. Why do I need a shield? I'm asking you. My students are ready. Can we use the venue? Zhang Yu felt that it was getting harder to breathe. It was as if he couldn't hold on any longer. Sure, of course, Fong Yin said indifferently. He waved his hand at his students and said with a smile, Since the students of the 1st class are willing to set an example for us, then we should study hard. This will also deepen our understanding of the text. This is not a bad thing. Am I right? Hearing Fong Yin say this, although Huang Haoran and the others were angry, they could only move away from the venue. A victorious smile appeared on Zhang Yu's face as she said, Mr. Fong is the one who knows when to advance and retreat. This has nothing to do with knowing when to advance and retreat. Fong Yin said with a smile, I'm a teacher. I hope that my students can learn more. If they can have such an opportunity to appreciate and observe, I think it will be meaningful for them. So I agreed. Zhang Yu sneered and waved his hand. Everyone, get into position. Rehearse according to the script we discussed before. We must return to the real feast at Hongmen's scene. The students of the 1st class agreed and immediately began to move. Tang Sheng stood behind Fong Yin and looked at the busy students of the 1st class. He asked with an unfriendly expression, Mr. Fong, do we really have to give up the venue? We really have to. Fong Yin nodded. They are going too far. Tang Sheng said with a sneer. He was originally a member of the 1st class. He was transferred from the 1st class to the 9th class because of Qin Yitian. He understood the thoughts of the students of the 1st class and Zhang Yu too well. Zhang Yu is coming for you. I know. Fong Yin nodded. You know? Tang Sheng looked at Fong Yin in surprise. You know, but you still let him get away with it? Then what should I do? Fong Yin grinned. Scold him? Or should I say, beat him up? I believe that he can't beat me in a scolding match. He can't beat me in a fight. However, No matter if we scold or fight, I lose and he loses. We both lose face in front of the students. I'm not talking about my face or his face. I'm talking about the face of the profession of a teacher. It's ruined. Tang Xing was silent. He was thinking about every word Fang Yin said. Yes, this was the difference between this man and others. He was calculative and conscientious. He was long-winded and cherished his words like gold. He was a hoodlum, but at the critical moment, he was able to stand up bravely. You think you understand him and see through him. No, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I know he sees me as an opponent. Fang Yin smiled and shook his head. But he is not worthy to be my opponent. Chapter 142. Killing 1,000 enemies while sacrificing 800 or killing 800 enemies while sacrificing 1,000 were all cruel ways of fighting. Fang Yin had many ways to knock down Zhang Yu and make him lose his reputation. Of course, Fang Yin could do it. However, he would not choose to do so. Just as he said, he hoped to pass on positive energy to his students. He wanted them to be true, kind, and brave. He wanted them to have rich knowledge and a humble attitude towards life. He hoped that they would be great and charming people. He was a language teacher, and so was Zhang Yu. If two language teachers fought like aunties in a wet market for the same venue, where would the dignity of teacher be? Where would the elegance and decency be? Jealousy made Zhang Yu crazy and irrational. He put on a posture as if he was willing to be cut into pieces to bring down the emperor. But Fang Yin could not let him succeed. He would not fight with him. He was not even willing to let him touch the corner of his clothes. That was what Fang Yin thought. Many times, people called him AB*TCH. However, sometimes he also hoped that people could call him a swordsman. Because of the retreat of Class 9, Class 1 immediately occupied the venue and quickly entered the plot. To be honest, the performance of the students of Class 1 was really good. They were originally the most outstanding students carefully selected. Coupled with their strong comprehension and learning abilities, they came prepared and perfectly restored the scene of the Hongmen banquet and the context and mood of each character. After the performance of the first group of students, Fang Yin immediately applauded and praised. Good performance, Fang Yin said with a smile. The students of Class 9 were originally hostile to Class 1, but under the influence and drive of Fang Yin, they calmed down and enjoyed the performance of Class 1. They also applauded and cheered along with Fang Yin. Zhang Yu stood beside Fang Yin. Seeing Fang Yin's performance, a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth. He thought to himself, of course it's good. The students of Class 1 are the most outstanding. What's good about it? I can only give you a passing mark. Zhang Yu called the group of students in front of him and commented on them one by one, saying, Zhang Xuedong, your Xiang Yu doesn't have the domineering aura of Chu Baowang at all. Wang Kai, your Liu Bang is too frivolous. Think about it. His life is in the hands of others. Can he still smile so happily? Be honest, moving people with their emotions. Otherwise, why didn't Xiang Yu kill him? Huang Feihu's portrayal of Fan Kuai was the most successful. He was brave and resourceful, but he couldn't read his lines properly. When I go back, I need to read the original script more and practice more. Fang Yin smiled helplessly. This is just a reenactment of the scene. The purpose is to let everyone have a deeper understanding of the historical event that happened during that period. Isn't it too harsh to ask your students to act according to the standards of actors? Of course, Zhang Yu was the language teacher of Class 1. He was educating his students, so Fang Yin was not allowed to interrupt. Otherwise, it might really cause a war where both sides would suffer great losses. Zhang Yu waved his hand and said to them, all right, go and take a break. The next group of students, get ready. Students below, please pay attention. I hope that everyone can act better and better. Each group will perform better than the last. If you see someone else's performance, but it's worse than theirs, then it's not a matter of intelligence. It's a matter of attitude. Teacher, what if Class 9 sees our performance and it's worse than ours? A student asked jokingly. Sun Xinping, aren't you talking nonsense? It's normal for Class 9 to act worse than us. That's right. Why should we compete with Class 9? If we want to compete, we should compete with Class 2 or the top classes of other schools. When did Class 9 become our opponent? We are number 1, and they are number 9. There are 7 numbers between us. Okay? The students of Class 1 laughed, finding this question very interesting. The students of Class 9 were furious. Wasn't this a blatant provocation and insult? So what if you're from Class 1? Tangxing jumped out from Class 1. He didn't want to have a bad relationship with Class 1 after he graduated. After all, there were many people in Class 1 who were his friends. However, some people went too far, and he couldn't bear it anymore. I think it's too boring. I don't want to stay there. I think so too. Qin Etienne echoed. She still stood outside the crowd with her hands in her pockets, with headphones plugged in her ears, looking like she didn't care about anything. However, a sentence at a critical moment was quite weighty. Tangxing was overjoyed, looking at his goddess Qin Etienne with excitement. She replied to me, "She's on my side. She's on my side." Class 1 was collectively silent. Tangxing and Qin Etienne's counterattack was too fierce. They were beaten until they were dizzy. It must be known that Qin Etienne entered Class 1 as the top student in the whole school. Until now, no one had been able to surpass her. Rosefinch deserved to be the most beautiful girl in the school. All the students had to respectfully call her senior sister Etienne when they met. Such a student couldn't be replaced by other girls after she left. And Tangxing was also a top student in Class 1. He belonged to the first echelon like Qin Etienne. Rosefinch, the school hunk, was Qin Etienne's hardcore admirer and strongest competitor. Everyone thought that the two of them were a match made in heaven and would definitely be happy in the future. They would enter university, start working, and then get married and have children. However, the two most outstanding people in Class 1 had job-hopped and left, and they went to Class 9, which they completely looked down upon. Zhang Yu's expression was also extremely ugly. He hated Fang Yan. He hated Fang Yan for stealing his limelight. He hated Class 9 for taking away the honor of Class 1. He also hated Fang Yan for poaching away his 2 favorite students, Qin Etienne and Tangxing. Now that Qin Etienne and Tangxing stood out to support Class 9, his heart felt as if it was being pricked by needles. He waved his hand forcibly suppressing the anger in his stomach, and said to Sun Xinping, who asked the question, "I'm talking about Class 1. We're only competing with Class 1 students. What does it have to do with us whether others act well or not? You can't even recognize who your opponent is. What's wrong with your head?" Sun Xinping smiled awkwardly and said, "Teacher, I was just joking." These people were constantly making insinuations and sarcastic attacks, which made Fang Yan's heart very uncomfortable. Their words were all belittling Class 9. They didn't put the students of Class 9 in their eyes at all. This made Fang Yan particularly angry. Why did they feel so good about themselves? Did they think that their students were superior to others? If someone said that their children weren't good-looking, perhaps all parents would find it hard to accept, right? Fang Yan walked in front of Zhang Yu and asked, "Miss Zhang, do you practice Tai Chi?" "I don't." "Do you learn Kung Fu?" "I don't." "Do you exercise?" Zhang Yu impatiently looked at Fang Yan and said, "What do you want to say?" "I really want to beat you up in the name of sparring." Fang Yan said, "Unfortunately, your defense is too good. You didn't give me a chance at all." Zhang Yu's face turned purple. Anger occupied his brain, making him temporarily lose the ability to fight back. "It doesn't feel good to be looked down upon, right?" Fang Yan asked with a smile. "Before you say those words, why don't you think about the students of Class 9? They are just a group of children. They are at the most sensitive age. They also have pride and self-respect. They also love face. They are all our students. Do you think it's really good for you to do this?" "Did I say something wrong?" Zhang Yu said angrily. "When did Class 9's performance surpass Class 1's? Has there ever been such a thing? Why don't I have any impression of it? If you're not convinced, why don't we have a little competition in the mock test next month?" "Compete in what? I don't care about other things." "We will compete in Chinese," Zhang Yu said. "If you want to compete in general subjects, I don't have an opinion. But I still advise you not to humiliate yourself." "Okay, then I will listen to you." "Class 9 will compete in Chinese with Class 1, Fang Yan said. "I believe they can get a good result this time. Do the nobles, generals, and ministers have guts?" Can they enter class 1 also be born with it? Fang Yin had a good understanding of his students and was confident in them. None of them were mentally handicapped. None of them were fools or idiots. The reason why they did not surpass the students of Class 1 when they entered the school was because they did not work hard in junior high or their learning methods were not right. Now, since he became the teacher of Class 9's Chinese and Class 9's homeroom teacher, the students' learning enthusiasm was fully mobilized. He did not dare to guarantee other subjects, but he was confident that they would achieve a breakthrough in Chinese. Because before this, they had used practical actions to prove it to him. Really? It's good that you are confident. Zhang Yu sneered. The loser has to apologize to the winner on the school radio station and read an apology written by the winner. Do you dare to accept my bet? I dare, but I'm not good at writing. I am afraid that I can't write an apology. Fang Yin said in distress. You don't have to write it. Just wait for the script to be read. Zhang Yu said with a face full of sarcasm. I knew Ms. Zhang would not make things difficult for me. Fang Yin grinned. He patted Zhang Yu's shoulder hard and said, as if he was doing it for his own good, the teacher often has to sit and grade homework. The work pressure is great, and the sub-health is getting worse. Miss Zhang, let me teach you Tai Chi. Zhang Yu thought, do you think I am stupid? Do you want to use me as Tai Chi? Chapter 143. When Lu Chaoga came downstairs, the servants had already prepared breakfast in the dining room. Jiang Zhulu sat at the dining table and read the newspaper. When he saw Lu Chaoga come downstairs, he closed the newspaper and said, I was still thinking about who would be the first to come downstairs to have breakfast with me. I really don't have much of an appetite facing this table of food alone. Lu Chaoga pulled out the chair opposite Jiang Zhulu and sat down. She asked, Where's Uncle and Auntie? My dad has to entertain his old friends at home today. He doesn't have to go to work, so he might sleep a little longer. My mom went to play mahjong with Mrs. Li and Mrs. Wang last night. When she came back, it was already early in the morning. I don't think she'll get up for a while. Jiang Zhulu picked up the chopsticks in front of him and said, No need to wait. Let's eat first. Lu Chaoga nodded, picked up the knife and fork, and began to cut the fried eggs on the plate. Have you been busy with work recently? Jiang Zhulu asked while stuffing fresh broccoli into his mouth. It's been all right. Lu Chaoga said expressionlessly. Have you sorted out the relationship between the schools? If there are any difficulties, I'll go find Zheng Tiancheng for a cup of coffee. I think he'll give me some face. Jiang Zhulu said with a smile. His smile was gentle and full of confidence. Perhaps it was an insurmountable gap for many people, but it was a simple problem that could be solved with a phone call and a cup of coffee for people like them. No need. Lu Chaoga directly refused. Jiang Zhulu smiled and said, Actually, I've thought about buying Rosefinch Secondary directly. At least, I want to become the largest shareholder of Rosefinch. I want you to be the principal so that you can fully display your abilities. Being held back by a group of useless old antiques all day and doing everything is a waste of your precious time. Lu Chaoga raised her head and looked at Jiang Zhulu in surprise. She said, You didn't think like this before. Because I understand you. Jiang Zhulu said. He added a packet of milk and half a packet of sugar into the coffee cup and gently stirred it with a spoon. I know that if I make such a request, you'll definitely refuse. Then, why do you think I will agree now? Lu Chaoga asked. Because you think I can't hold on any longer? I'm the one who wants you to agree, Jiang Zhulu said with a smile. This will save you some time, won't it? Only by becoming the actual controller of that school can you plan and design it according to your vision. Otherwise, how much longer would you have to spend in that quagmire? 1 year, 2 years, perhaps 3 to 5 years later? I'm not in a hurry, Lu Chaoga said. As long as she was given a little more time, she believed that she could completely establish herself in Rosefinch. Now, more and more people were trying to get close to him. She just lacked some experience and convincing results. But someone is anxious. Jiang Zhulu smiled helplessly. You only come back every 2 days, so you can't understand my pain. My mom calls me every day to urge me to go home. Once I get home, she asks me when I'm getting married. I don't want to give you any pressure. I don't want to push you too hard. But you know, a woman in menopause can't be measured with common sense. So, Shouldn't we put this matter on the agenda? Agenda? What agenda? Lu Chaoga's tone became cold. She looked like she was 1,000 miles away. The wedding agenda, Jiang Zhulu said with a smile. Of course, the baby's agenda. Or, there are many other things on the agenda. I haven't considered it, Lu Chaoga said. If you and Auntie are in a hurry, you might as well see if other women are willing. Of course, I know many women are willing to marry into the Jiang family. You're not willing? Jiang Zhulu stared at Lu Chaoga and asked. I haven't considered it, Lu Chaoga said. She picked up a piece of egg with a fork and put it into her mouth, chewing it tastelessly. How vexing. How could he encounter such an oppressive forced marriage while eating breakfast? What did the Jiang family want? Why? No reason. I saw you for the first time when I was 3. You moved to my house when I was 6. We spent 20 years together. How do my parents treat you? How did I treat you? So, you want me to repay you with marriage? Lu Chaoga retorted. Repay? The muscles on Jiang Zhulio's face twitched. You said this is repayment? Could it be that I, Jiang Zhulu, can't find a woman? Do I need you to repay me with marriage? I do like you. I fell in love with you many years ago. I hope that you can be with me. I hope to marry you as my wife. I hope that I have the qualifications to be the man who can give you happiness. Is this considered as repayment? I don't like you, Lu Chaoga said. Because of Fang Yan? Fang Yan. Lu Chaoga frowned and shook her head. It has nothing to do with him. Pa! Jiang Zhulu slapped the dining table and roared like a wounded beast. Lu Zhaoga. You don't even dare to admit what you've done? What are you afraid of? Of my revenge? Of that pretty boy who relies on women? I don't know what you're talking about. Fang Yan and I are just normal colleagues. Lu Zhaoga was nonchalant as he nibbled on the egg that he had cut into strips. Just ordinary colleagues? Do you think I'm an idiot? Jiang Zhulu sneered. Lu Chaoga, you're afraid that I'll take revenge on him, right? You're really considerate to him. You really don't trust my character. I'm not afraid of your revenge, Lu Chaoga said. You can't beat him. What's with the ruckus so early in the morning? Qiang Long Tan, who was wearing a gray pajamas, scolded as he walked downstairs. Zhulu, apologized to Chaoga. Apologize? Jiang Zhulu felt like he was about to explode. What did I do wrong? I just said a few words of truth. Someone took photos of her with that wild man, and you still have the nerve to lie and say there's nothing between them? What does it have to do with you if Chaoga makes friends? Qiang Long Tan said sternly. As long as Chaoga isn't married and hasn't become someone's wife, she has the right to make friends freely. Apologize. Clang. Jiang Zhulu threw the fork in his hand and turned to walk outside. Bastard. Qiang Long Tan pointed at Jiang Zhulio's back and cursed. After Jiang Zhulio's car drove away, Qiang Long Tan sat down next to Lu Chaoga and comforted her. Chaoga, don't take it to heart. Zhulu doesn't have any bad intentions. As his parents, we all know how he feels about you. It's been so many years, but Zhulu hasn't had a proper girlfriend. As for why, we all know even if he doesn't say it. People have made him into one of the 4 beauties of Huaqing. What is there to show? It's just 4 young people from good families hanging out together to pass the time. He's still young and hasn't experienced much. It's understandable that he lost control of his emotions when he felt that things were getting out of his control or that the things he cared about were leaving him. No matter what, we're all family. Uncle, I understand. I'm not angry, Lu Chaoga said calmly. Qiang Long Tan studied Lu Chaoga's expression carefully. After making sure that she really wasn't angry, he smiled and said, That's good. Your parents entrusted you to me, and I'm afraid that you've suffered in this family. If there's anything, just tell me. Don't keep it to yourself. I don't need a son, but Chaoga will always be my favorite daughter. Thank you. Lu Chaoga's expression changed, and her voice trembled as she said, Thank you, uncle. Qiang Long Tan patted Lu Chaoga's shoulder and said, I'll go wash my face first. Eat more. Don't try to lose weight like other girls. You've lost weight lately. I will, Lu Chaoga said. Qiang Long Tan smiled and turned to go upstairs. When Qiang Long Tan returned to his room, his wife, Ren Jin, was already smoking by the window in a black gauze nightgown. Qiang Long Tan raised an eyebrow and said, Don't smoke so much. What? You can't stand me smoking a cigarette at home? I've never seen you get annoyed when that woman acts like a tyrant at home. Ren Jin's expression was displeased, and her words were sharp and painful. How is Chaoga acting like a tyrant now? Kang Long Tan said with a dark expression. She's a poor child. She's been very sensible since she was young, and we've never had to worry about her. Don't you feel guilty that she's acting like a tyrant at home? Don't I feel guilty? Ren Jin sneered. Zhu Lu said a few words about her, and you want to get someone to apologize. Zhu Lu is a proud man, and you're driving him out on purpose, aren't you? Don't you feel guilty for treating us like this? A man should always give in to a woman. Am I supposed to make Chaoga apologize to Zhu Lu when they're fighting? I can't bring myself to do that, said Qiang Long Tan. Also, how many times have I told you? Don't get involved in their business. Ren Jin turned around abruptly and stared at Qiang Long Tan with a mocking look in her eyes. Qiang Long Tan, do you know what my father said about you the first time he met you? A yellow ox and a dog. You look like a hard-working old ox, but deep down, you're a dog who wants to bite everyone he sees. You don't want me to get involved with them because you don't want them to be together, do you? Putting out the cigarette on the windowsill, Ren Jin said coldly, you don't want Lu Chaoga to be your daughter-in-law. You want her to be your son's stepmother, don't you? Smack! Qiang Long Tan slapped Ren Jin across the face. Chapter 144. When Lu Chaoga was busy dealing with the work at hand, Zhang Jing knocked on the door and came in. He looked at Lu Chaoga with a smile and said, Principal, I'm here to refill your cup of tea. Lu Chaoga glanced at Zhang Jing and then looked at the documents on the desk again. Zhang Jing took Lu Chaoga's cup to the water dispenser to refill the water, but he stood opposite Lu Chaoga's desk and did not leave immediately. Lu Chaoga looked up at him and asked, Is there anything else? Principal, is there anything I need to deal with? Zhang Jing asked with a smile. Xiaoming is very capable. I will let her deal with anything, Lu Chaoga said. How can that be? Zhang Jing waved his hand and said, Although I am the deputy director of the office, I am actually the principal's secretary. If there is anything, of course, the principal will let me deal with it. The principal can't favor one and discriminate against the other. It is my honor to be able to serve the principal. Lu Chaoga looked up at Zhang Jing for a few seconds. She closed a folder on the desk and said, Director Zhang, sit down. Principal, just call me Little Zhang. Zhang Jing rubbed his hands and said, Director Zhang, you are a smart person. I will not beat around the bush with you. Lu Chaoga said frankly and directly, I know that it is not easy for you, and you also know that I am not free. So, we don't have to torture each other. To be honest, I don't believe you. You can't be 100% loyal to me. Isn't it good for us to keep a certain distance? Principal Lu, Zhang Jing's face was red. His throat moved, but he did not know what to say. Of course, Zhang Jing knew the role he played around Lu Chaoga, but he was really at a loss when Lu Chaoga exposed him so blatantly. Don't hit people in the face. Being told by the boss that it was impossible to be 100% loyal to her, any subordinate would feel a sense of fear. Lu Chaoga tapped the document in front of her with her finger and said, Director Zhang, I still have something to do. Zhang Jing hurriedly got up as if his buttocks were on fire. Principal, you're busy. You're busy. Zhang Jing Luo ran away in a panic. Lu Chaoga sat for a while with a gloomy face. She got up and walked to the door of the office. She told the secretary, Xiaoming, Ask teacher Fang Yan to come here. I have something to talk to him about. Yes, Xiao Meng replied. No one would have thought that Fang Yan was sitting opposite Zheng Tianqing at this time. One was an ordinary teacher, and the other was a board member of Rosefinch Secondary School. And Rosefinch Secondary was just a very inconspicuous business under Zheng Tianqing Group. The difference in status between Fang Yan and Zheng Tianqing was more than 108,000 miles. However, Fang Yan just had to sit in Zheng Tianqing's office and become a VIP that he had to see. After the beautiful female secretary turned around and left, Fang Yan picked up the teacup and took a sip. He said with a smile, Director Zheng really knows how to enjoy himself. This top-notch Longjing tea can't be drunk anywhere. But the quality of the tea in Principal Liu Chaoga's office is still a bit worse. Could it be that Principal Liu is more extravagant than Director Zheng? Zhang Tiancheng's face was gloomy as he said, Principal Liu has an extraordinary background. It's not strange for her to have a few boxes of good tea. No, it's Principal Liu who treats people sincerely, Fang Yin said. Whether it's the school's senior leaders or a powerless teacher like me, she will take out her best tea to entertain the guests. I think Director Zheng definitely won't drink this kind of tea, right? Zhang Tiancheng's dark face became even darker. Everyone knew that the boss's office was usually equipped with a variety of tea. If the boss wanted to drink tea, the secretary would naturally choose the most favorite tea according to the boss's taste. If it was an important guest, the secretary would choose the top tea according to the guest's taste. There was also a kind of tea called popular tea. It was for guests like Fang Yin who had no identity or status, but the boss had to see, so he would use the same popular tea to entertain them. Since it was popular tea, the quality naturally wouldn't be good. What are you trying to say? Zhang Tiancheng said, while suppressing the anger in his heart. If possible, he really wanted to ask the bodyguards to throw the guy in front of him out. Of course, he really didn't want to meet such a small character before. However, the information he sent and made him pay more attention to this guy. A small teacher actually had the guts to interfere with the school board's affairs. I'm saying that I hope Director Zheng can be honest with me, Fang Yin said with a smile. Don't be like the tea leaves that are used to make tea, throwing out some random things to be perfunctory. If that's the case, it will hurt my sincere feelings from afar. Can we start now? Zhang Tiancheng said impatiently. He raised his wrist to look at his watch and said, You only have 5 minutes. Then let's start, Fang Yin said. Do you know Zhu Jian, Director Zheng? I don't know him. Zhang Chantian directly rejected the information of this person's existence in his mind. Of course, Director Zheng may not be familiar with the name if I say it directly. After all, Director Zheng usually comes into contact with some big shots. Zhu Jian used to be a teacher at Rosefinch Secondary and also Zheng Guodong's language teacher. He was chased out of school because he had an ambiguous relationship with a female student and happened to be photographed by Zheng Guodong. Does Director Zheng have any impression of him? A little, Zhang Tiancheng said. Such a person doesn't deserve to be a teacher. The punishment he received is what he deserved. I used to wonder if we were being too lenient toward this kind of social trash. What if Zhu Jian was wrong? Fang Yin asked with a smile. Then you go find the person who wronged him and send him to the police station. A smile appeared on Zhang Tiancheng's face, but his eyes were cold when he looked at Fang Yin. Bad people should be punished. Isn't society moving forward smoothly and healthily by such moral principles and legal provisions? I think so too. Fang Yin nodded. Director Zheng and I have the same idea. Fang Yin put down the teacup in his hand and said with a smile, Director Zheng, then I won't bother you anymore. Since you have made up your mind, you have to actively implement it. After Fang Yin finished speaking, he turned and walked toward the office door. Insignificant skill, Zhang Tiancheng sneered. He knew that Fang Yin would not leave. If Fang Yin really wanted to leave, he would not have gone through so much trouble to see him. If he really wanted to call the police, why did he come to negotiate with him? Since he wanted to negotiate, it proved that he had ulterior motives. As long as there was something he wanted before he got it, he would definitely come back. Hey, why hasn't he come back yet? Zhang Tiancheng heard the sound of Fang Weiyin's footsteps getting farther and farther away. He heard Fang Yin open the office door, heard the office door close, and even heard Fang Yin praise his secretary outside. His secretary's eyes were as clear as a lake in spring. Until now, Fang Yin had not returned. Zhang Tiancheng could not sit still. He opened the office door, looked at the secretary and asked, Fang Yin, where's the young man just now? Boss, didn't you guys finish talking? The secretary asked doubtfully. Did he really leave? Yes, he left. Zhang Tiancheng's heart suddenly sank. This young man did not play by the rules, making him feel like he was out of control. Did he really find something? Did he really want to send the information to the police station? His reason told him not to act rashly. This was a trap. He could not take the initiative to enter the trap, and he could not be at a disadvantage. However, what if the opponent he encountered was a rash idiot? Zheng Tianqing hesitated for a moment, then said to the secretary, "Do you have his registered phone number? Call him and say he left something behind. Tell him to come back and get it." "Yes, boss." The secretary was puzzled, but she still followed the boss's order. 5 minutes later, Fang Yin sat in Zheng Tianqing's office again. This time, the secretary brought a cup of tea. The quality of the tea was obviously improved by several grades. Fang Yin took a sip of the tea and praised, "Good tea. I don't have any other hobbies, but I like this good tea." "Elegant person," Zheng Tianqing said. "Oh, good beauty." The sage said that food and sex are natural. "Good US dollars." Zheng Tianqing sorted out his mood and said, "I express my sincerity. Now, can we talk seriously?" "Okay." Fang Yin said with a smile. "Talk about what?" Zheng Tianqing felt a surge of anger in his heart. This person was not serious at all. Didn't Director Zheng ask me to come back and say that I left something behind? I came back to get it. Fang Yin said. "A mobile phone." Zheng Tianqing said. "It was left by another guest. I mistook it." "Then there's nothing for me to do?" Fang Yin said. "If there's nothing else, I'll go back first." "Director Zheng, see you at school." Fang Yin. Zheng Tianqing shouted angrily. "Be serious." Fang Yin was stunned, but he was happy in his heart. "Very good." Zheng Tianqing was angry. He was angry because he had a guilty conscience. Because he had a guilty conscience, he asked the secretary to call him back. Because he had a guilty conscience, he could tolerate his cynicism. Moreover, he was really worried that he had some important information in his hands. In that case, not only would his son's situation be worrisome, but he himself might not be able to get away with it. Right? Zheng Tianqing was angry, and this was the sincerity that Fang Yin wanted to see. Fang Yin sat down and said, "I want to reverse the verdict for Zhu Jian and seek justice for him." "Why?" "First, I want to wash away the shame on him and return his innocence. Second, I want Rosefinch to hire him back to teach and continue to be a Chinese teacher. Third, compensate him for his financial and mental losses. Fourth, all bad people should be punished." This is what Director Zheng said just now. Chapter 145. Zheng Tianqing sat there and listened attentively, looking at Fang Yin with gentle and kind eyes. She didn't think that Fang Yin's behavior was impolite, but encouraged him to continue. "Director Zheng, we're not ungrateful people. We also know that if people like us accidentally get into a conflict with you, or even if it's just because we feel that we've been treated unfairly and want to seek justice, it'll take a lot of courage." Fang Yin patted his chest and said, "We have worked hard for a long time and have done a very meticulous job. So, please don't easily refuse and hurt us, because it will hurt our last bit of self-esteem and make us hysterical. Things might get worse, or anything might happen." Zheng Tianqing looked at Fang Yin and asked, "Do you have anything else to say?" "No," Fang Yin said. "You have mentioned the conditions and threats." Zheng Tianqing nodded and said, "You've already done very well. To be honest, you're not the best negotiator I've ever seen, but you're the most talented negotiator novice. In the past, I didn't realize that in Rosefinch Secondary, in my territory, there was actually such a talent hidden. This is really my mistake and loss." Zheng Tianqing looked at Fang Yin with a face full of sincerity and said in an equal and friendly tone, "Fang Yin, how about being my assistant? You will come to a big platform that you have never imagined before. You will receive the respect of countless people and opportunities for development that no one can estimate. Rosefinch's platform is too small. It is not suitable for you." "Just an invitation?" Fang Yin asked. "No threat?" "No threat," Zheng Tianqing said without hesitation. "I'm not a threat here. I'm going to tell you what you're getting. First, you'll get what looks like a handsome annual salary. If your performance amazes me, I don't mind giving you some dividends. You know, this is a benefit that only the senior executives and those who have followed me for many years can enjoy. Of course, if you become my assistant, You will also be considered as half a member of the company's senior management. Second, you will own a 300 square meter house and a car worth more than 300,000 yuan. This way, isn't it a little stronger than living in the Vermilion Bird Middle School's teacher's dormitory? Do you have a room at Rosefinch Secondary? Not at the moment, Fong Yin said. He lived in a house that Lu Chaoga had lent him. Lu Chaoga could lend the house to him, and she had the right to take it back at any time. Because a certain director in the logistics department was prejudiced against him, he didn't even have a separate room. What a pity. Talented young people deserve more opportunities to live a better life. Zheng Tianqing said, I just overheard you complimenting my front desk lady's clear eyes, just like a lake in spring. This description is too appropriate. Chunting was really beautiful, wasn't she? A sexy girl and a handsome guy. This was really a romantic beginning. If you can become my assistant, what can't happen between you two? It had to be said that Zheng Tianqing was a very smart negotiator. He didn't respond to Fong Yan's words. He even downplayed the matter that Fong Yan mentioned and the conditions that he proposed. He didn't fight on a battlefield that was unfavorable to him. He opened up another battlefield that could better display his advantages and strengths. Of course, this battlefield was definitely the favorite of his negotiators. High-paying position, good salary, and immeasurable development opportunities. Big house, good car, and of course, there would be no lack of beautiful women. What you want, he will give. What you lack, he will provide. He satisfied all the fantasies of a loser. He could let you cut off your past life and reach the sky in one step. Yes, he could do it. You will have so much, and you will have so much that you can't even imagine before. In this case, how many people could persist in standing on the opposite side of Zheng Tianqing for a person who was not related to them in a matter that had nothing to do with them? Who would be the enemy of a luxurious house, a beautiful car, and a tempting high-paying position? If Fong Yan was really a teacher at Rosefinch Secondary, if Fong Yan was just a teacher at Rosefinch Secondary, if he was like other teachers, they were comfortable and poor. They didn't have to worry about food and clothing, but they couldn't live extravagantly. Their work was easy and stressful. More importantly, they felt that their life was extremely mediocre and boring. If Fong Yan was such a person, could he refuse the conditions that Zheng Tianqing proposed? The answer was no. He wouldn't refuse. However, Fong Yan was Fong Yan. He was not only a language teacher. The reason he could refuse and say no to Zheng Tianqing was not because he rejected these things, but because he had these things to begin with. He was not more noble than anyone else. He just had a stronger backing and richer capital than others. This was really a sad story. To be honest, I'm very tempted. Fong Yin said, I mean, if it was anyone else who came to negotiate with you, they might be bribed by you and let you have your way. Even if the victim, teacher Zhu Jian, came himself, I'm afraid he would also hesitate. Of course, this is the result after I put myself in the shoes of the victim. I don't think I'm more moral than teacher Zhu Jian. What I did was within the scope of my ability, and what he did was within the scope of his morality. So, if both of us were to run for the honor of Rosefinch Secondary's moral model, I would not hesitate to cast my vote into the ballot box in front of him. Zheng Tianqing frowned slightly. Things had become a bit tricky. He had made such a promise. If Fong Yin agreed to accept it, as a smart person, he wouldn't mention the so-called victim or the harsh words like Zhu Jian anymore. Let bygones be bygones. Everyone could start working together to a better future. Wouldn't that be great? He believed in Fong Yan's IQ and believed that he could make such a choice. But Fong Yan didn't. He was still mentioning the victim, still mentioning Zhu Jian. So, was he going to refuse? Why would he refuse? How could he refuse? But I can only refuse. Fong Yan said, some people serve for power, some become a lackey for money, some just do it for a high-income job, to let their family live a better life. It's not easy for anyone to live. Why do you work? For fairness. Fong Yan said, for morality, for my conscience which is decent most of the time. Zheng Tianqing stared at Fong Yan with burning eyes for a while, and then laughed out loud. He laughed until he was gasping for breath. His fat cheeks were full of meat. He pointed at Fang Yin with his thick finger and said, Fang Yin, do you know? Every day, there are countless people who want to visit my office. I receive at least 5,000 guests every year. The number of people sitting in your current position is countless. But do you know that they only come to see me for one purpose? Cooperation to make money. Or cooperation to make money. No one has ever talked to me about conscience, and no one has ever talked to me about morality. Because not everyone can be so thick-skinned as to say such things in a dignified manner. Ha ha ha. Fang Yin, you're really fresh. Fang Yin didn't laugh. Zheng Tianqing was telling the truth. In the era of prophet, who would talk about conscience? Who had the nerve to talk about morality? They don't say it because they are too embarrassed to say it. Fang Yin said with a serious face. I say it because they don't say it. These words, these things, someone has to stand up and say it. Someone has to be brave to do it. Whether it's conscience or morality, it's a compliment. It's not shameful to say it and do it. Zheng Tianqing looked at Fang Yin with a dignified face and said, So, your conscience and morality make you refuse my good intentions. But our negotiation must continue. Fang Yin said, Let's have a good talk about conscience and morality. Then, you have to strictly abide by the negotiation process. Zheng Tianqing said, In a business transaction, the buyer inspects the goods first, then the seller makes an offer. The buyer bargains, and finally the transaction is concluded. Both sides are satisfied. How can the seller make an offer at the beginning? Fang Yin, if you want to get a good price, I'm afraid it's not enough to just have a good eloquence and a kind heart. I'm afraid you have to come up with something more convincing. Director Zheng, you already have a guilty conscience, don't you? If you didn't have a guilty conscience, why would you ask your secretary to call me to come back? If you didn't have a guilty conscience, why would you be willing to give such a tempting offer to a little teacher like me? If you don't have a guilty conscience, don't be afraid of ghosts knocking on the door. I'm not a ghost. You know what I said is the truth, but you still don't want to admit it. You think you've done a good job and cleaned up the mess. You believe in money, wisdom, capable people, and extensive connections, but you don't believe in God. I've seen too many people like you. Fang Yin looked at Zheng Tianqing, his cheeks blushing. He looked very embarrassed and said, I like to slap this kind of people in the face. Fang Yin took out a hard drive from his pocket and said, If you have a computer, you might as well open it. Your son won't let you down. Zheng Tianqing didn't hesitate. He took the hard drive and walked quickly to his desk computer. He plugged the hard drive into the computer and quickly operated it with his right hand. Soon, his face was ashen, and his body slumped into the leather swivel chair. Chapter 146. Where did this come from? Zheng Tianqing asked in a hoarse voice, as if someone was choking his neck when he spoke. What's the point of asking this? Fang Yin asked with a smile. He picked up the tea in front of him and sipped it leisurely. The outcome had been determined, and he didn't want to waste this delicious tea. Drinking tea after a victory had a different taste. Zheng Tianqing was irritated, but he was more shocked. He pushed the chair away and stood up. His face became firm and hateful as he said, There were only 5 of them there at the time. The girl can be ruled out, but Zhu Jian is the victim. If he had this video in his hands, I'm afraid he would have taken it out to save himself. Zheng Tianqing's voice became murderous as he said, So, is it Li Mingxiang's son or Chun Tao's son? The answer to this question is really obvious. Why must it be them? Li Yang and Chun Tao are Zheng Guodong's followers. How could they betray him? Why can't it be the 6th person? Fang Yin asked with a smile. Someone happened to pass by the woods and happened to see the shameful scene. He didn't have the courage to stop it, but he filmed this video that caught you off guard. This is also very possible. Zheng Tianqing sneered and said, You worked so hard to speak for those 2 children. Haven't you already proved a lot of things? What? Are you afraid that I will retaliate against them? Of course, Director Zheng is not that kind of person, Fang Yin said with a smile. Besides, compared to retaliating against them, you have more important things to deal with, right? Name your price, Zheng Tianqing said. Your price and Zhu Jian's price. What Zhu Jian needs, he will talk to you. But I don't want money, not a penny. Fang Yin said in a very serious tone. I want the bad guys to be punished. This is my only request. I can't agree to this, Zhang Tianqing said. Then, I will submit this video to the school and the police station, Fang Yin said. Of course, for safety reasons, I will also post it on the internet. Aren't you afraid of my retaliation? Yes, Fang Yin said. But aren't you afraid of my revenge? Do as I said just now. First, I wanted to wash away the shame on Zhu Jian. He was a good person, and he shouldn't have to carry such a heavy burden all his life. Secondly, I want Rose Finch to hire him back as a teacher. Send him an invitation. Whether he refuses or not is his prerogative. Thirdly, compensate him for his physical and financial losses. You owe him, and Rose Finch owes him. Fourth, the real bad guys should be punished. Otherwise, everything I do will be meaningless. Can we do this? Zhang Tianqing sat across from Fang Yin and said, I promise you the first 3 conditions. No, I promise you double. I will think of a way to wash away the shame on Zhu Jian and give him a chance to turn over a new leaf. Second, I will hire Zhu Jian to teach at Rose Finch and start from the position of Deputy Director of Teaching. Thirdly, if he gives me a reasonable amount of money, I'll give him double the compensation. But I'll let Jing Guodong go this time. He's still a child. I can let him leave. Leave Rose Finch. Leave Huaxia. Let him go far away. If I promise you, does it count as me colluding with you? Fang Yin asked rhetorically. Fang Yin put down the teacup and said, Director Zheng, you are a man of great wisdom. I believe that you have no choice but to do such a thing. So I'll give you 3 days. I believe that you can make a wise choice. If Zheng Guodong accidentally runs away within these 3 days, then I'll make this video public regardless of the consequences. Director Zheng has a big business, so be careful. Fang Yin took out his mobile phone from his pocket and looked at the time. He said embarrassedly, Oh, we've been meeting for more than 5 minutes. It's really a sin to delay the school board meeting. Zhang Tianqing felt powerless. This guy really held a grudge. A few major events happened at Rosefinch Secondary these days. The first major event was naturally the eldest of the school's 3 foppish playboys, Zhang Guodong, dropped out of school. He suddenly left the school without informing anyone. Zhang Tianqing's secretary only sent a withdrawal application to the school. Why did Zhang Guodong drop out of school? Where did Zhang Guodong go? This became the topic of many students' discussion. Of course, it was also a mystery that was difficult to pry into the truth. Fang Yin knew where Zhang Guodong went. He entered the juvenile detention center and was about to start a new life that he had never experienced before. Zhang Tianqing finally made a wise choice. He had a big business, so he didn't dare to let this matter affect his own reputation, nor did he dare to let the company's reputation suffer any damage. Within the scope of Fang Yan's permission, he kept Zhang Guodong's withdrawal and entry into the juvenile detention center within his control. It didn't cause any big waves, not even a small ripple. He had the ability to do it. Of course, the students were happy to see Zhang Guodong drop out of school. Who asked him to be domineering and bully his classmates in school? He wasn't liked at all. The second major event was Zhu Jian's return. The language teacher who was expelled from the school because of a scandal with a student returned. The school obtained new evidence to prove that Zhu Jian and the girl only had a normal teacher-student relationship. In order to make up for Zhu Jian's long period of unfair treatment and grievances, the school not only recruited him back, but also arranged for him to take the important position of Vice Director of Education. Now, he was Li Mingqiang's assistant. It could be said that Zhu Jian's return was more sensational than Zhang Guodong's dropping out of school, and it caused more heated discussions among the teachers and students. Some smart people guessed that Zhang Guodong's departure had something to do with Zhu Jian's return, but no one had evidence to prove that there was a definite connection between the two. The third major event was the official establishment of the Rosefinch Secondary Tea Ceremony Society. The first president of the Tea Ceremony Society was the school's legendary figure, Qin Yitian. Qin Yitian originally refused to take on this position. She didn't feel that she had the mood and obligation to spend her precious time and energy to explain and demonstrate the real tea ceremony to her juniors. However, After Fong Yan's repeated requests, and even accepted a condition that only the two of them knew, Qin Yiqian finally agreed. Sure enough, the power of an idol was infinite. If you didn't see it with your own eyes, you would never be able to understand how terrifying the girl's influence in the school was. With the support and help of Lu Chaoga, the school specially provided an activity venue for the tea ceremony society and renovated the room into a classical-style tea house. Qin Yiqian stood at the entrance of the tea house. When two boys hung the plaque inscribed by Lu Chaoga on the wall, countless students who heard the news rushed over to cheer and applaud. Then there was a long queue in front of the registration desk, and the first batch of 100 registration forms was sold out. Those who couldn't sign up protested loudly, but Qin Yiqian turned a deaf ear to them. She directly closed the door of the tea house and pulled the first batch of club members into the tea house for a meeting. The popularity of the Tea Ceremony Society made Fong Yan, the honorary president of the Tea Ceremony Society, very happy. He knew that anything would be successful as long as he had the label of a goddess. Of course, the establishment of the Tea Ceremony Society was to promote the tea ceremony of Huaxia and cultivate the habit of drinking and loving tea in Huaxia. They recruited 100 people in the first batch and selected some students who came for the tea ceremony. Then, they would select the best in batches and turn the Tea Ceremony Society into a real tea ceremony society, not just another fan club of Qin Yiqian. Obviously, this process was very difficult. It was said that men who worked hard were the most attractive. In fact, in the eyes of men, women who worked hard were also very sexy. Fong Yan sat opposite Lu Chaoga's desk and watched her quickly read through her opinions on one document after another and sign her name. Her glasses were lowered to the bridge of her nose, and her long hair was loose and touched the paper. Her nose was round and smooth, and there wasn't even a common blackhead. Her eyes were big and bright, and her long eyelashes looked forward like a beautiful little fan. Every time her eyes fluttered, it was like a light touch on a man's heart. After dealing with the last document, Lu Chaoga closed the folder and asked her secretary, Xiao Meng, to come in and distribute the documents to each department. Then, she explained to Fong Yan, the school's anniversary is the focus of the school during this time. Every department has to be mobilized to participate. Did you invite Zhu Jian back? The school invited him back, Fong Yan said with a smile. I'm not qualified to give the position of Deputy Director of Education to him. Lu Chaoga took off her glasses, and her beautiful eyes were even sharper and dazzling. You know what I mean? Lu Chaoga said. The leaders of the school, including me, even if they suspected that there would be some disgraceful shadows in Zhu Jian's case. But because of Zheng Tiancheng's intervention, no one really thought about doing anything for him. A lot of things are in the past, and no one will think about uncovering and investigating him again, especially things that have nothing to do with their own interests. Lu Chaoga looked at Fong Yan and said, You mentioned Zhu Jian in front of me more than once, because there were some misunderstandings between us. I know that if there was no external intervention, Zhu Jian wouldn't have come back, and it would be even more impossible for him to wash away the shame and regain his innocence like this. Fong Yan, you did what I couldn't do. I admire you very much. Fong Yan's mouth was round, and his face was full of disbelief. This strong woman who never compromised with anyone, actually said that she admired him? I'll treat you to dinner tonight, Lu Chaoga said. If there's nothing else, I hope you won't refuse. Oh, Fong Yan was even more shocked. Is this a date? Chapter 147. Who is playing the east wind with the pipa? The years are peeling off the wall, remembering my childhood. Fong Yan was singing. Some people say that if you are successful in love, you will be frustrated on the battlefield. Frustrated on the battlefield, you will be proud in love. Nonsense. Fong Yan was now proving to them that he was not only proud on the battlefield, but also very proud in love. Look at the iceberg goddess of the school, the star idol worshipped by thousands of people, the mature and sexy headmistress. The proud and stubborn strong woman Lu Chaoga took the initiative to invite him on a date, blowing the horn of attack and shouting the password of conquest. Just thinking about it made people feel sweet in their hearts. Men conquer women by conquering the world. If you fail on a battlefield, how can you conquer the world? If you can't conquer the world, how can you conquer women? So, some things are really unreasonable. Mr. Fong, what makes you smile so happily? Like a flower. Lu Chaoga's secretary, Xiaoming, stood in front of Fong Yin and looked at his happy face and asked aloud. Fong Yin waved his hand and said, I'm a child, I don't understand. Annoying. Xiaoming said angrily. Who said I'm a child? You're a child. I know even if you don't say it. What do you know? Fong Yin asked. Isn't it just the leader inviting you to dinner? Xiaoming said proudly. After that, Xiaoming quickly looked around. She exposed the leader's privacy in public. If the leader heard it, he would be very unhappy. Fong Yin looked at Xiaoming with wide eyes and said, You already know? You eavesdropped on our conversation? Xiaoming rolled her eyes and said, Please, I helped you book the restaurant where you ate. I already knew before you came to see the headmistress. Okay? Fong Yin felt that Lu Chaoga was too inexperienced. How could this kind of thing be known? Booking a restaurant shouldn't be left to the secretary. Maybe she disdains to hide her feelings. She wants everyone to know who she truly belongs to, Fong Yin thought. Just like Qin Tian. Thinking of this possibility, Fong Yin blushed and felt dizzy. His body felt light, as if he had just drunk a big bowl of wine. Mr. Fong, what's wrong with you? Xiaoming saw that Fong Yin's expression was not right and asked anxiously. I'm fine. Fong Yin waved his hand. I'm fine. A pot of muddy wine is a happy reunion. How many things have happened in the past and present, all in laughter and conversation? Fong Yin strode away, his voice also becoming passionate and heroic. Xiaoming hummed along and found that the lyrics couldn't keep up with the tune of Breaking East Wind. Sky 1. Some people said that this was the most expensive restaurant in Flower City. One of them, Fong Yin, stood in front of the glass door of Sky Number 1 and said embarrassedly, Isn't this too wasteful? What we eat is secondary. Our main goal is to find a place to talk and chat. Lu Chaoga glanced at Fong Yin and didn't say anything. How about I pay the bill for this meal? Fong Yin said. Usually this kind of thing is paid by the man. Lu Chaoga glanced at Fong Yin and said, Okay. Fong Yin's eyes widened. Why did she really agree? With her strong personality, shouldn't she have slapped herself in the face and said, Stop fighting, I said I'll pay the bill today. So, I'll pay today? For a man, paying the bill is also a kind of honor. Fong Yin's expression was a little awkward, and he was embarrassed to look at Lu Chaoga's eyes. But you didn't tell me in advance. If I don't have enough money on me, I'll need to borrow some from you. I have enough money. I'll pay the bill. Lu Chaoga's lips curled into a smile. I'm really sorry, Fong Yin said. I hope you won't laugh at me. My self-esteem is very fragile. There will be opportunities in the future. Lu Chaoga's voice was calm and gentle. She seemed to be hinting at something. Fong Yin thought to himself, What is she hinting at? She wants to tell me not to rush. If we get together in the future, I'll give you opportunities to pay the bill often. Is that so? Then should I reject her tonight? Who would dare to want such an unscrupulous woman? Sir, how many? A beautiful attendant in a stewardess uniform walked over quickly and greeted them with a smile. 2, Lu Chaoga said. My surname is Lu. Oh, Miss Lu has booked a magic cloud private room. Please follow me. The attendant pressed the elevator button behind her, and then the elevator, which could enjoy the surrounding scenery in all directions, took them all the way up to a height of tens of meters. The private room was mainly sky blue, and the magic clouds were everywhere, as if they were really flying in the sky. Seeing the environment in the private room, Fong Yin was very glad. He thought to himself, Fortunately, I'm not paying the bill. The attendant brought the electronic menu. Each dish had a video specially shot for it. If one was interested in this dish, he could click on the video to learn more about it. Fong Yin felt that it was too high-tech. He said, Principal Lu, you order. You can call me Lu Chaoga, Lu Chaoga said without raising her head. Lu Chaoga. Fong Yin whispered the name and felt his heart beat faster. These women were really enchanting. Their casual words could make people feel numb and have strange associations. Lu Chaoga ordered a few dishes skillfully and said, Open a bottle of red wine. I saved last time. Okay, the attendant replied. Miss Liu, please wait a moment. After the attendant left, Liu Chaoga took off her silver coat and hung it on the hanger in the room. She wore a white shirt and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window to look at the night view of Huaqing. The sky was dark, and the clouds were rolling. A heavy rain was coming. Liu Chaoga's eyes were blurry, and her expression was dull. No one knew what she was thinking. Fang Yin stood behind her and didn't know what to say. Someone told me that you can only enjoy the true night view of Huaqing from here, Liu Chaoga said. I tried many times, and it's true. Yes, Fang Yin agreed. Although he didn't know if the neon lights of the skyscrapers outside counted as the true night view of Huaqing, he said, the view is pretty good. This is our first time eating together? Liu Chaoga asked. Yes. Everyone is usually very busy. It has nothing to do with being busy, Liu Chaoga interrupted Fang Yin and said, it's just that it's not convenient. It's not suitable. Yes, it's not convenient. It's not suitable. If Liu Chaoga, the school's vice principal, always ate with Fang Yin, the new teacher, rumors about them would probably spread throughout the school, right? People would probably scold them for being stupid if they said they weren't a couple. But do you have to say it so clearly and make people feel like I'm not worthy of you? People change, and so does their state of mind, Liu Chaoga said. I used to think that I was good at reading people, but after knowing you for so long, I've never really seen you clearly. Sometimes I think I've seen you clearly, but you'll soon prove to me that I'm wrong. Fang Yin smiled and said, why do you have to see people so clearly? Because I lack a sense of security, Liu Chaoga said. For people who I can't see clearly, I'll classify them as bad people. I'm worried that he'll tear off his disguise at any time and reveal his smelly fangs. This is very unfair to good people like us. Fang Yin shook his head and smiled bitterly. Yes, you're a good person, Liu Chaoga said. I don't know what you have on Zheng Tiansheng, but I think when you went to negotiate with him, with his businessman nature, he must have offered you very good conditions, right? Very good. I was almost bought over. But you didn't, Liu Chaoga said. Not only were you not bought, but you also sent his only son to the juvenile detention center. Fang Yin looked at Liu Chaoga in surprise and said, you know about this? This was his negotiation with Zheng Tiansheng, and it was also an agreement. He thought that no one would know where Zheng Guodong went. This is the best ending, Liu Chaoga said. It's the same for him, and it's the same for Zhu Jian. It's the best ending for everyone. Zheng Tiansheng definitely won't think so. But you're not afraid at all. Liu Chaoga looked at Fang Yin with burning eyes and said, Fang Yin, sometimes I really wonder, is there anything you can't do? Don't put me on such a high pedestal. I'm also an ordinary person, Fang Yin said with a smile. Even if it's just a sense of justice, it's already very unusual in this world, Liu Chaoga said. I admire righteous people, so I want to treat you to a meal. Just because of justice? Fang Yin asked. He felt a little disappointed. What about the promised date? What about the candlelight dinner? You don't even chase after me. How can I refuse you? And wisdom, Liu Chaoga said. Splat, bean-sized raindrops slapped on the window, making a sound like beans being fried. Outside, the wind was howling, lightning flashed, and thunder roared. This was a rare rainstorm that Fang Yin had seen since he came to Huaqing. I like rainy days, Liu Chaoga said as she looked at the rain outside. Women all like rainy days, Fang Yin said with a smile. It's easy to make people sentimental. I just think. There was a cruel smile in Liu Chaoga's eyes. This world is too dirty. It needs to be cleaned. Fang Yin was shocked. Liu Chaoga was a little strange today. She was very different from the cold and proud Liu Chaoga that he had met before, who didn't seem to care about anything. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Before Liu Chaoga and Fang Yin could respond, the door was pushed open from the outside. A group of people walked in with glasses of wine. The man in the lead smiled and said, Chaoga, I know you're eating here, so I came to have a drink with you. Chapter 148. Femme fatale. Fang Yin didn't doubt the truth of this sentence at all. However, what made him feel so wronged and depressed was that Liu Chaoga wasn't his femme fatale at all. She was just his colleague and his boss. They didn't even have the chance to sit at the same table and have a meal together. Why was he always in trouble? Jiang Zhulu, Fang Yan's inexplicable rival in love. Jiang Zhulu appeared at the door of the private room and walked toward Lu Chaoga with a glass of wine in his hand. With a charming smile on his face, he walked straight to Lu Chaoga and stood in front of her. He raised his glass to Lu Chaoga gracefully and said, "Lu Chaoga, I wasn't in a good mood this morning and said some very rude things. I hope you won't take it to heart. Take this cup of wine as a token of my apology." Lu Chaoga stared at Jiang Zhulu with a sharp gaze, and then her eyes gradually softened. In the end, she still picked up the glass in front of her and clinked glasses with Jiang Zhulu before draining the red wine in one gulp. Jiang Zhulu also drained the red wine in his glass and said with a smile, "Let bygones be bygones. Living happily is the most important thing. Am I right?" "I've already forgotten," Lu Chaoga said. "Forget the unhappy things and remember the things that are worth remembering," Jiang Zhulu said. "You know why I'm anxious, and you also know why I lost control of my anger. After so many years, you understand me far better than I understand you. Although I still don't know you well enough, but..." Jiang Zhulu lightly patted his chest and said, "You've always been here, in a very important position." "Thank you." "Don't say thank you. Who was it that said that? Once a woman is polite, a man won't have chance." Jiang Zhulu turned around, looked at a tall man, and asked, "Lu Shu, did you say that?" "Haha, you're trying to divert the trouble. What does it have to do with me when you two are flirting?" "I'm not going to get involved in your family war," the man said jokingly. The man called Lu Shu had a straight back. His facial features were sharp, and his eyes were deep. He was well-dressed and had an extraordinary temperament. He was wearing a light pink collared shirt and a custom-made black suit with a slightly longer tail. He didn't wear any jade or precious wood on his body. There was only an old plum blossom watch that looked out of place on his wrist. It was as if there was a scar on his snow-white arm. This plum flower watch looked very old. It should have been thrown into the trash can or an antique box. However, the man treated it like a treasure and wore it on his wrist. This proved that this watch either had a great background or this person wanted to use it to show off. "I always meet such strange people," Fang Yin thought to himself. "I don't mind if you say that, but I won't save you if you piss off Chaoga," Jiang Zhulu said with a smile. Lu Shu walked to Lu Chaoga with a glass of wine in his hand and said with a smile, "Chaoga, I was just joking with you. You're not mad, are you?" "No," Lu Chaoga said. "I knew it. Since when did my cousin Chaoga become such a narrow-minded woman? Most men wouldn't be able to do what Chaoga did. Chaoga, we haven't had a drink together in a long time, right? Come, let's have a drink." Clang! Their glasses clinked, and they drained the red wine in their glasses at the same time. After that, Lu Shu scratched his shoulder-length hair out of habit and said with a smile, "Drinking with a pretty girl is the best. I have a bunch of sweaty and smelly men over there. It's really boring to drink with them. Why don't we share a table?" Lu Chaoga turned him down and said, "Maybe next time. I have a guest." "A guest? Thank God." Lu Shu finally looked at Fang Yan's face. "I've never seen him before." "I've never seen him before, have I?" "Fang Yan. He's a teacher at school," said Lu Chaoga. "My colleague." "Teacher? Colleague?" Lu Shu guffawed, as if he had just heard a funny joke. "Chaoga, don't tell me you're really going to put down roots in the education industry. You're already bribing your subordinates. What's the point of staying at that crappy school? If you're willing to work for me, I'll make you a vice president. If you want to start your own business, I'll invest $30 million in you up front and $30 million more every 3 months. What do you think?" If it weren't for the fact that he had to prove to them that he was also a man who had seen a lot of money, Fang Huahua's face would have turned into an O again. Regardless of the project or the field, an initial investment of $30 million and an additional $30 million every 3 months. That was to say, Lu Chaoga would get $10 million in venture capital every month. Just now, Fang Yin was still feeling proud of himself for resisting Zheng Tianqing's temptation. He felt that he was really a great man who could not be subdued by force, could not be lustful, and regarded money as dirt and beautiful women as old women. Now, Compared to the temptation that Lu Chaoga had experienced, he was simply too ashamed to show his face. Thank you. Lu Chaoga refused as expected. I really like my current job. Haha, I knew it. This is the Lu Chaoga I know. Even if I don't like you, I can't not respect you. Lu Shu said with a smile. He glanced at Fong Yin, who was sitting still in the chair, and said, You don't mind if we share a table, do you? I don't mind. Fong Yin said with a smile. As long as Principal Lu agrees. You're all friends anyway. Lu Shu laughed proudly and pointed at Fong Yin. You see, even if a woman wants to find shield, she should find a man with a bit of backbone. This kind of person with osteochondrosis probably can't take on an important role, right? Willow Tree. Lu Xiaoga scolded. He's my friend. I know. Lu Shu nodded. Of course he's your friend. He's also a very important friend of yours. Otherwise, how could you bring him to Sky One? How could you open the good wine you've stored here for him? Lu Shu thought for a moment and said, As far as I know, you haven't brought another man here before, have you? What's his name again? He's really special. I have to get close to him. This is my private matter. It has nothing to do with you. As a brother, I should care about my sister's living condition. What's wrong with that? Lu Shu asked with a smile. Chaoga, sometimes IQ isn't important, but choice is. You're a smart person and should understand what I mean. Thank you for your kindness. I'm responsible for my own life. But please don't insult my friend. Lu Chaoga said. Lu Shu pointed a finger at Fong Yin and said with a laugh, You think I'm insulting him? You think I'm insulting him? Lu Shu turned to look at his friends behind him and said, Do you think I'm insulting him? Who is he? Does he deserve to be insulted by Mr. Lu? Exactly. What the hell? He's just a school teacher. Isn't he afraid of dirtying Mr. Lu's mouth? Mr. Lu, can't you scold me a little if you have the time? If you scold me, I'll brag to the other brothers that I was scolded by Mr. Lu. I'll have a lot of face and my status will rise. The Prime Minister's doorstep was a third-rank official. Those who could hang out with Jiang Zhulu and Lu Shu were naturally people with some background. They were either billionaires or their parents were high-ranking officials. Naturally, they wouldn't care about a little teacher like Fong Yin. Their words were sinister and malicious, mainly to make Lu Shu happy. Lu Chaoga's expression became even colder, and her eyes shone with a sinister light. She wanted to be angry. She wanted to scream, but she couldn't say anything, and she couldn't do anything. She was asking for humiliation. Yes, if she did that, she would only be asking for humiliation. Lu Shu, nicknamed the Willow in the River Pond, was one of the 4 prodigies of Huaqin. His ranking was even higher than Jiang Julius. To be able to be ranked as one of Huaqing's 4 prodigies, which one of them didn't have a shocking background and strength. If everyone maintained a layer of skin on their faces, then she would still be Lu Chaoga, the love interest of Jiang Zhulu, the adopted daughter of Qiang Longtan, and a member of the Jiang family. They had to at least maintain a respectful appearance towards her. However, if everyone shed all pretense of cordiality, would Jiang Zhulu stand on her side? Would Qiang Longtan speak up for her? That layer of tiger skin on her body would probably be torn apart with a single stab. What could she do to them? Other than being exposed as a worthless mask, she couldn't change anything. I think you said something wrong. Fong Yin wiped his mouth with a napkin and stood up. Are you talking to me? Lu Shu looked at Fong Yin with interest and asked with a smile. He had been hanging around Huaqing for so many years, and no one had ever dared to refute him. It's you. Your call what? Fong Yin wasn't someone who dared to take a loss. Others couldn't remember his name, and he also couldn't remember other people's names. More importantly, no one had ever explained to him where these guys came from. Please, you're not Lu Dehua or Zhang Xueyo. Everyone in the world should know you, right? Lu Shu. Lu as in willow. Tree as in willow. Lu Shu said with a smile. This name is easy to remember, right? Everyone calls me Hatong Lu. My name is Fong Yin. It's the flame of 2 fires, Fong Yin said. My name is even easier to remember. Everyone calls me Fong Huahua. Although I don't really like this nickname. Then, we really know each other. You can say that. Fong Yin nodded. Now you can tell me, what did I say wrong? I have bones. Fong Yin stretched out his arm and said, If you don't believe me, Feel it. Chapter 149. Can a person eat, walk, or fight without a bone? Fong Yin hated being wrong the most. So, he wanted to use his actions to prove to them that he had a bone. Touch it, touch it. Fong Yin extended his arm in front of the willow tree and said, "What you see may be fake, but what you feel is real. Touch the bones of my fingers, touch the bones of my elbows, touch the bones of my vertebrae." Of course, the willow tree wouldn't touch it with his hands. He looked at Fong Yin like he was crazy and said to Lu Chaoga, "Is this person sick? Too much." Fong Yin was angry. "Just now you said I have no bones, and now you say I'm sick. How can you be like this? How can you casually say someone is sick? You're not the genius Dr. Qin Luo. You can tell if someone has a heart problem just by looking at their forehead, or if they have a kidney deficiency just by looking at their face. Let me tell you, my body is fine." The willow tree's mouth opened and closed, but he didn't know what to say. He was a famous playboy in Flower City, a Casanova of the masses. Whether it was a young lady, a pure lowly, or a gorgeous young married woman, he could talk and laugh with them without end. Why did he suddenly feel a lack of words when he met this guy? He felt something was wrong. He called him a spineless person because he didn't have a sense of responsibility and couldn't stand up for Lu Chaoga to defend against their arrival and bear the possible risks. He said he was sick because he really put his arm in front of him to let others feel if he had any bones. Wrong topic. Yes, he was willing to twist his words and bring it up to this awkward and funny topic in order to make himself laugh and embarrass himself. Understanding this, the willow tree couldn't help but laugh. He looked at Fong Yin and said, "Do you think you're very funny? Don't praise me like that. Do you think that I won't be able to deal with you if you do this? Why do you want to deal with me? Aren't we friends?" Fong Yin said in shock. The willow tree was at a loss for words, but the little brothers behind him began to clamor. "Young Master Lu, why are you wasting your breath on him? Why don't we just kill him? Using a wine bottle to break his scoop? This is our specialty. A little teacher dares to act cool in front of our young Master Lu? Why don't you take a mirror and look at yourself?" Fong Yin didn't pay attention to the curses of his little brothers. He looked at the willow tree with a smile and said, "I want to tell you a secret." "What secret?" the willow tree asked. "I'll tell you, but you can't spread it." "Of course," said the willow tree. "However, my mouth has never been reliable." "I'm relieved to hear that," Fong Yin said. He pointed at Jiang Zhulu and said with a smile, "I've known young Master Jiang for a long time." "He didn't tell you, did he?" The willow tree turned around and glanced at Jiang Zhulu. There are many people in Flower City who know Jiang Zhulu. So what? The muscles on Jiang Zhulu's face twitched imperceptibly. He had a bad feeling. Sure enough, Fong Yin didn't disappoint him. "He provoked me, so I broke his head," said Fong Yin. "I can understand. He definitely wouldn't tell you such an embarrassing thing." Boom! The crowd was in an uproar. This guy actually injured Jiang Zhulu, one of the 4 young masters of Flower City. The willow tree's eyes trembled slightly. His expression when he looked at Fong Yin changed slightly. He knew better than anyone what kind of personality Jiang Zhulu had. He was a gentleman on the surface, but he was a ferocious wolf and mad dog in the dark. He viewed his face as important as his life. If anyone offended him, he would fight them to the death. Other than the fact that the 2 families were in-laws, the willow tree was also willing to be close to Jiang Zhulu for this reason. Who would want to be enemies with a mad dog? However, Jiang Zhulu provoked Fong Yin, and he broke his head. How could there be such a thing? Jiang Zhulu's head was broken, and the culprit who injured him was still alive and well, accompanying Lu Chaoga to eat a candlelit dinner. What kind of background did this guy have? The information contained in Fong Yin's words was too much. The willow tree had no choice but to carefully consider it. What was even more hateful was that Jiang Zhulu clearly knew what kind of person Fong Yin was, but he didn't warn him at all, allowed him to have a conflict with him. He suggested for him to accompany him to drink with Lu Chaoga. He should be trying to make use of him, right? His thoughts turned in a flash. The willow tree immediately redefined his role in this conflict. "Do you think I'll believe you?" The willow tree sneered. "This is the first time we've met, right? I don't know who you are. I don't know where you're from. So why should I believe what you say? Why don't you believe me? Fang Yan's face was full of anger, as if he had suffered a great grievance. He looked at Jiang Zhulu and said, tell them, did I break your head? Jiang Zhuliu's expression was ferocious. He wanted nothing more than to slap Fang Yan to death on the spot. You asked such a question. How do you want me to answer? Have you considered my feelings? The willow tree turned to look at Jiang Zhulu and said with a smile, Zhulu, is this true? This guy's mouth is full of lies. In any case, I don't believe him. Fang Yan looked at the willow tree thoughtfully. This careless guy with a hedonistic appearance was not simple at all. With just a few words, he had dissociated himself from the matter and dragged Jiang Zhulu back into the fray, making him confront him directly. Such an opponent made it impossible to not be on guard. Jiang Zhulu was in a dilemma. He said he didn't, but the image of Fang Yan slapping him again and again was like a thick sore that had taken root and sprouted on his body. If it didn't squeeze the thick fluid out, his body would forever be in pain, and his heart would never be at peace. If his answer was yes, then how could he, Jiang Zhongzhu, one of the 4 prodigies of Huaqin, establish himself in the circle of young masters in Huaqin? He couldn't even deal with a school teacher. This in itself was a sign of incompetence. Tell him the answer, Fang Yan said to Jiang Zhulu. If you dare to say no, then I won't admit to it anymore. Even Lu Chaoga was shocked by Fang Yan's words. Previously, when Fang Yan said he slapped Jiang Zhulu, she, like the others, didn't believe it. However, looking at Jiang Zhuliu's expression, it was possible that something like that really happened. This seemingly harmless guy was actually so ferocious when he was angry. And when did this happen? Why hadn't she heard of it before? Revenge is a dish best served cold. Our debt will be settled slowly. Jiang Zhulu laughed. His smile was gentle, but his eyes were filled with murderous intent. I'm not in a hurry. You don't have to be either. Lu Shu was shocked. He looked at Jiang Zhulu and didn't speak rashly. Jiang Zhulu didn't deny it. This matter had already been confirmed. Since the two of them already had a grudge, there was no need for him to jump out and be cannon fodder. However, this guy was really annoying. Fang Yan looked at Lu Shu and said, Look, Jiang Zhulu of the 4 prodigies of Huaqin was beaten badly by me. In the end, he could only say some harsh words to me. If I did this to you, you'd be standing here awkwardly, wouldn't you? Is this a threat? Are you sure you can walk out of this private room after hitting me? Lu Shu squinted his eyes. Are you sure you can walk out of Air Force One? You don't understand what I mean. Fang Yan said with a smile. What I mean is, you guys are wearing custom-made clothes and leather shoes from British or French designers. There's no need for you guys to have a grudge with a guy like me who wears a $200 Rosefinch secondary teacher uniform, right? If you spit on me, I can wipe it off with a tissue and continue wearing it. I won't feel disgusted. However, if I spit on you guys won't be able to take it and throw away your clothes, right? What a pity. That's true. Lu Shu nodded. Porcelain shouldn't collide with earthen jars. Young Master Lu is a smart person. You're much wiser than young Master Jiang. Fang Yan said with praise. He didn't forget to put medicine in the eyes of these 2 brothers. In any case, the little secret he told Lu Shu had already planted a thorn in their hearts. They just had to wait for the day that thorn to grow and pierce through their flesh. But what if the earthen jar touches the porcelain? What should we do? Lu Shu asked. That kind of thing will never happen. Fang Yan said. I don't have money, connections, or looks like you guys. Why should I offend you guys? I'm just a little teacher. I want to teach my students well. My biggest dream is to let them beat Class 1 in the next exam. Why should I touch you guys? Why should I get involved in these boring things that I don't understand at all? You guys are fighting in the real world, and I'm watching family gossip on TV. If it wasn't for today's dinner, we might never see each other again. The dishes are getting cold. Don't disturb our dinner, okay? Lu Shu looked at Jiang Zhulu, meaning to say, you should solve the problem yourself. Jiang Zhulu smiled at Lu Chaoga and said, since it's not convenient for you today, let's go back and have a good talk. I wish you a good appetite. Under Jiang Zhulio's lead, the group walked out in a line. However, everyone couldn't help but glance at the spot where Fong Yin was standing when they stepped out of the door. They could guarantee that they would never forget this delicate yet incomparably arrogant face. The private room regained its silence. Fong Yin sat back in his chair and stuffed the tablecloth back into his chest. He said, "Let's eat. The dishes are getting cold." Lu Chaoga looked at Fong Yin with a complicated expression, as if it was the first time they met. Chapter 150. Human Ruffian, Lu Shu said. This kind of person is a human ruffian. The so-called human ruffian was someone who placed himself in a very low position. If he told others that he was a pile of shit, and you stepped on him, wouldn't that be dirtying the soles of your shoes? If you were barefoot or wearing a pair of cloth shoes, it didn't matter if you stepped on him. At most, you could wash your feet or change your shoes. If you were wearing a pair of expensive leather shoes made by a famous designer in Milan, it would be bad to step on it. Although they didn't care about the price of a pair of leather shoes, they didn't like the stench that came from their feet all the time. There's a popular law of garbage people in society now. Jiang Zhulu smiled bitterly and said, "A lot of people are like garbage people. They run around and are full of negative garbage. They are full of frustration, anger, jealousy, scheming, hatred, arrogance and prejudice, greed and inadequacy, complaining, comparing, and can't stand to see others better than them. As more and more garbage accumulates in their hearts, they need to find a place to dump it. Unfortunately, I happened to meet such a person. I was spat on, but I couldn't do anything as vulgar and rude as him." "So it's over?" Lu Shu swirled the red wine glass in his hand and asked with a smile. Two women sat on either side of him. One was young and fashionable, and the other was full of charm. The two women were beautiful, and they didn't look like prostitutes at all. One look, and you could tell that they were ladies from respectable families. The two women looked peaceful and friendly on the surface, but their words and actions were hidden with murderous intent. In order to win Lu Shu's favor, they always had to get rid of their opponents first. This was exactly what Lu Shu liked. He liked women to fight for his affections, and he liked women to plot against each other for his sake. Moreover, he was a very fair judge. The final winner would eventually enter his arms and become the woman he loved dearly. A temporary woman. This was a game, but he never got tired of it. Of the four beauties of watching, Lu Shu was the most romantic by nature. He was invincible in the field of love and had never lost. "Let go." Jiang Zhulu squinted his eyes and smiled. He gulped down the unfermented red wine in his hand and said with a smile, "How can I let it go like this?" "Young Master Jiang." "Who is this guy?" someone asked curiously. "Is that important?" Jiang Zhulu sneered. "This is Flower City." "Yes, this is Flower City." The willow tree nodded. He reached out and hugged the sexy and plump woman. On the other side, the young and inexperienced girl immediately blushed and felt extremely sad. "This is our territory. We can do whatever we want." "Do what you want." Jiang Zhulu poured himself another glass of red wine and said, "Lu Chaoga seems to be going further and further." "You still like her?" The willow tree laughed out loud. "I really didn't expect that one of our Flower City's four prodigies, young Master Jiang, would actually be so infatuated with love. There are plenty of fish in the sea, so why should I have a one-sided love for a flower? Have you ever thought that the Lu Chaoga that you have bitterly loved for so many years might have already been taken by that little teacher?" They hugged, kissed, and caressed. That scoundrel used all the methods he could think of to possess her. If you think that way, don't you like her even more? Jiang Zhulu was trying to use him to fight against Fong Yin. This made Lu Shu feel extremely uncomfortable. If he could make Jiang Zhulu feel uncomfortable, he didn't mind fulfilling his wish. "Lu Shu, do you believe that I won't tear your stinky mouth apart?" Jiang Zhulu fiercely stared at the willow tree and said, "Ha ha, did I hit your sore spot? Everything is possible." The willow tree laughed wildly, as if he had encountered the most hilarious thing in the world. As the two top young masters, Lu Shu and Jiang Zhulu, bickered, everyone else was silent. They lowered their heads to drink and eat, pretending not to hear what they were saying. A fight of this level wasn't something they could interfere with. If Fang Yin suddenly beat up Lu Shu or Jiang Zhulu in anger, Lu Chaoga wouldn't find it strange at all. Didn't Qinya Haowu of the Warren Investigation Group sneak, attacked Tang Qing from the back like this? It was simply impossible for him to abide by discipline, rules, or to constantly pay attention to his surroundings and maintain his rationality. Fang Yin didn't care about Lu Shu and Jiang Zhuliu's identities and backgrounds. If they really provoked him, he didn't mind teaching them a lesson, just like how he knew Jiang Zhuliu's personality from slapping him in the face. However, Fang Yin didn't beat them up. Moreover, not only did he not beat them up, but he also planted a patch of thorns on Jiang Zhuliu's skin with a few simple words. When they wanted to get closer again, the patch of thorns would pop out and stab each other's bodies, making it difficult for them to hug each other as tightly as before. Fang Yin wasn't a martial artist, but a boorish man. He was scheming and intelligent. Martial arts experts were cultured. Just thinking about it was scary. Fang Yin cut a piece of beef and stuffed it into his mouth. He chewed it gently and enjoyed the extreme taste of the snowflake beef ribs flown in from Australia. Eat. The food is getting cold, Fang Yin reminded Lu Chaoga when he saw her standing there motionlessly. Lu Chaoga pulled out a chair and sat across from Fang Yin. She picked up the knife and fork and unconsciously cut the steak, but she didn't have any appetite. A luxurious car, a luxurious house, a luxurious dress, and a publicly recognized proud daughter of heaven, Fang Yin said. It seems like you aren't living as well as we thought. Who has it easy? Lu Chaoga said expressionlessly. Everyone has their own difficulties. You have your difficulties, Lu Shu has his difficulties, and Jiang Zhulu also has. You were right to reject Jiang Zhulu, Fang Yin said. This person has no bearing. We were just having a meal together as normal subordinates and friends, and then he brought his people over to cause trouble. Is this what a man should do? Anyway, I can't do it. If you were him, what would you do? Lu Chaoga asked. I would directly beat myself up, then pull out a chair and sit across from you, Fang Yin said. If you don't have bearing, then do things with generosity. You have to have a different temperament to attract women, especially a woman like you. Am I right? What is your different temperament? Me? Fang Yin thought seriously and said, the natural kindness in my bones. The rain was getting heavier and heavier. The rainwater on the ground that couldn't be drained in time was rising, and it was already overflowing the mountains. The wind was howling, and the black clouds were rolling. The rain was so dense that it was difficult to see with the naked eye. I will send you back, Lu Chaoga said while looking at the rain outside. If I had a car, I would say this to you, Fang Yin said with embarrassment. There was still some distance between the main entrance of Sky No. 1 and the parking lot. The security guard ran over with 2 umbrellas, one big and one small. He used the small umbrella to cover himself, and the big umbrella to cover Fang Yin and Lu Chaoga, ready to send them to the parking lot to pick up the car. Swoosh! Fang Yin's shoes were drenched as soon as they came out of the rainforest. Lu Chaoga, who was wearing high heels, actually had some advantage in the air. The rain was heavy and rapid. Fang Yin and Lu Xiaoga's bodies could only stick close to each other to avoid being drenched by the splashing rain. Lu Chaoga's uniform skirt was blown by the strong wind, sticking tightly to her thighs. Her exposed calves were snow-white and dazzling. When the raindrops landed on them, it gave people a faint feeling of being wet and seductive. A faint fragrance, like the fragrance of orchids, came to their noses. It was very pleasant. Even with the heavy rain and the strong wind, Lu Chaoga still walked calmly and elegantly. This woman was indeed outstanding in her own way. In order to take care of the guests, the security guard's clothes were drenched, dripping with water. Sorry to trouble you, Fang Yin said with embarrassment. It's my job. The security guard smiled honestly. When he smiled, 2 small dimples appeared on his face. According to physiognomy, people with small dimples on their faces loved others more. It seemed that he must be a good son and a good husband. After a pause, he said, You are different from the other guests. How is it different? No one said thank you before, the security guard said. In order to block the strong wind from behind and the falling rain, The security guard tried his best to lower the umbrella. Fang Yin and Lu Chaoga could only look forward. Their line of sight behind was completely blocked. Rumble, lightning flashed, and thunder roared. White light streaked across the sky. It was as if the sky was about to be torn apart. For no reason, Fang Yin suddenly felt goosebumps all over his body. There was a strong chill on his back. Danger! Get out of the way! Fang Yin roared. He suddenly pushed Lu Xiaoga to the side, and the two of them rolled and slid in the rain. When a security guard heard Fang Yin shout, he didn't react at all. Before he could turn around, his body was sent flying into the air like a kite with a broken string. His pupils widened. He couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. Everything was fine. Why was there a super off-road vehicle rushing over from behind? Even if there was a car driving over, they should have turned on the lights and honked. Why did they sneak over? And how could they drive at such a fast speed in front of the restaurant? He couldn't understand. Bang! His body landed heavily on the ground and slid a long distance in the muddy ground before stopping. Xiao Bao. He tried hard to call out the name, but a large amount of thick blood spurted out of his mouth. Soon enough, his body stopped twitching. His eyes were wide open. He died with a grievance. The small black umbrella in his hand flew out, fluttering in the air, carried by the strong wind to an unknown place. Chapter 151. One flower, one world, one leaf, one Bodhi. Under the vast galaxy and endless starry sky, he was just an insignificant person. But in the hearts of his family, his parents, his wife, and his children, he was the whole world. An insignificant person had flesh and blood. He had family, friends, parents with gray hair, a wife who knew how to cry, and ignorant and helpless children. He didn't want to die. He also wanted to live. But would the executioner discuss with them in advance? Would they ask for their opinions when they were harvesting lives? No one cared about their life or death. Even if their names appeared on the newspaper, they would soon be drowned out by the scandals of celebrities and even more miserable lives. He was just a small security guard. No one even remembered his name, except for his family. His body lay in the muddy water, cold, wet, stiff, unwilling, broken, and badly mutilated. No one heard his last murmur. No one heard the name Xiao Bao. That was his son who had just turned 1 month old. That was his flesh and blood that he was unwilling to part with. But who cared? It was a black Toyota off-road. It didn't turn on the headlights or honk the horn. It sped through the heavy rain, and under the cover of the lightning and thunder, without any warning, it charged towards their backs, towards their defenseless bodies. This was murder. The Toyota off-road did not stop at all after crashing into the person. It ran wildly toward the exit of the restaurant. This scene was so sudden and violent that no one could make an effective response. When Fang Yin and Lu Chaoga stopped rolling, when Fang Yin got up from the ground and wanted to chase after them, the Toyota off-road had already rushed to the main road and soon disappeared in the storm. They couldn't catch up with it. They couldn't kill it. It made them feel powerless and humiliated. More and more people gathered. The security guard, the staff, and the distinguished guests at the door. Fang Yin squatted in the rain beside the security guard. He reached out to touch his chest, but there was no longer any breath. He was dead. Sorry to trouble you, Fang Yin said. It's my job. The security guard smiled honestly. You are different from the other guests. How is it different? No one said thank you before. The person who was just talking to him warmly a moment ago had already been separated by life and death. Fang Yin regretted that he did not spend more time with him and did not thank him properly. He should have taken him to a restaurant, not too high class, preferably a roadside food stall. They would not drink Mao Dai or Wuliangye, but a bottle of Xiao Dao or Erguo Tu. Everyone would roll up their sleeves, play a guessing game, grease their mouths, slap the table, curse, and get drunk. There was also a deep sense of guilt. I'm the same as them, Fang Yin said to the security guard in his heart with tears in his eyes. When danger approached, his first reaction was to throw Lu Chaoga to the ground. Yes, in that extremely dangerous situation where he had no time to think, he chose to save Lu Chaoga, who he was more familiar with. He saved her life, but at the same time, he gave up on her. He was just a security guard. Who cares? He was just a security guard. Who would care? He was just a security guard. Who would care? Lu Jinju. Wake up, Lu Jinju. Someone shook his body and shouted. His name was Lu Jinju. Although he was just a security guard, it did not prevent his parents from giving him such a shiny name. Just like he was a security guard, but he also named his son Xiao Bao. There was a difference in status, but there was no family love. What's going on? What's going on? Call the police. Someone died. Call the police. A security guard was crushed to death. What bad luck to encounter such a thing while having a meal. The rain was pattering and the wind was howling. From time to time, lightning flashed in the sky, illuminating all the filth on the ground. Countless sounds echoed in his ears, and countless faces appeared in his mind. Fong Yin looked like he was scared out of his wits. He squatted there without moving. What's going on? Did you see that? What happened? Someone shouted at him. I saw it, Fong Yin said. Someone killed him with a car. What car? A black Toyota off-road. What license plate? I didn't see it clearly. Lu Shu, Jiang Zhulu, and the others also came out. They were shocked to see Fong Yin beside the dead body, and Lu Chaoga, who was sitting on the ground and still couldn't get up. Jiang Zhulu took off his suit jacket and quickly ran to Lu Chaoga. He put the suit jacket on Lu Chaoga's head, then bent down to pick her up and ran to the hotel lobby. Lu Chaoga's right knee was bruised and blood was oozing out. The blood mixed with the rainwater on her leg and was instantly diluted. Therefore, the wound seemed to be softer, and it was not so shocking. Her left leg was sprained, and her waist and leg were seriously injured in many places. Even the slightest movement would cause a heart-wrenching pain. Just the moment Fong Yin threw her to the ground was enough to make her dizzy. Rolling all the way on the concrete floor caused her serious injuries, and there were many cuts on her body. Jiang Zhulu put Lu Chaoga on the sofa in the lobby and asked anxiously, Lu Chaoga, are you okay? How do you feel? Lu Chaoga shook her head and looked at Fong Yin through the glass wall in the rain. Her eyes were sad. What happened? Why did this happen? Jiang Zhulu was like an enraged lion, shouting angrily. It's just a meal. How could someone be injured like this? Who did it? Lu Chaoga remained silent and didn't answer. Jiang Zhulu turned around and shouted to little Fatso, Zhang Wei, call your dad. Ask him to investigate for me. No matter who did it, ask him to find the person. Little Fatso nodded and walked out quickly. Dusan, call your uncle and ask him to help me find the person. Tell him that I, Jiang Zhulu, owe him a favor. A skinny monkey-like man answered and ran out as well. Lu Shu walked to Jiang Zhulu with a serious expression and patted him on the shoulder. Calm down. How can I calm down when Chaoga is injured like this? Jiang Zhulu said coldly. Have you thought about it? Lu Shu smiled darkly. Who's the biggest suspect now that something like this happened? Jiang Zhu looked at the willow tree with a stunned expression. He immediately understood what the willow tree was trying to say. Something unpleasant just happened between us. Why did they get into a car accident right after they left? Lu Shu said seriously, I've already asked around. Someone drove a car into them from behind. If it weren't for that kid's quick reflexes, Lu Chaoga would be dead already. Who? Jiang Zhulu asked. How would I know? The willow tree shrugged helplessly. I don't know. All I know is that you're the biggest suspect now. How could I do something like this? Why can't you do something like this? The world is dangerous, and people are evil. Lu Shu sighed. Fong Yan's clothes were soaked. Not just his body, but his heart as well. His head and face were drenched in rain, and his hair stuck to his scalp like a black skullcap. He clenched his teeth and strode toward the lobby of the restaurant. He stared at Lu Xiaoga with a fierce look as if he was about to devour him. Seeing Fong Yan's fierce look, Jiang Zhulu immediately stood in front of Lu Chaoga and pointed at Fong Yan. Fong Yan, what are you doing? Screech. Fong Yan didn't say anything. He just grabbed Jiang Zhulio's finger with lightning speed. Fong Yan let go. Jiang Zhulio's finger hurt, and he couldn't move his body. Harder, harder. Jiang Zhulio's finger was bent by him. Crack. A crisp sound rang out, and Jiang Zhulio's finger was forcefully broken. Lu Shu was about to step forward to stop Fang Yin, but the two bodyguards behind him had already surrounded Fang Yin from both sides. Horsetail whisk. Fang Yin grabbed the shoulder of one of the bodyguards. With a twist of his body, a strong airflow appeared, and the bodyguard was sent flying. Bang! His body fell heavily on the wall. His face was bleeding, and he couldn't get up anymore. The other bodyguard's hand had already touched Fang Yin's chest, but Fang Yin quickly rushed forward and took the initiative to use his body to meet his fist, toppling the mountains and overturning the seas. Bang! The bodyguard in black let out a blood-curdling scream as he flew backwards and fell to the ground. The arm that Fang Yin used to push his chest had lost all feeling. More people rushed toward Fang Yin. Fang Yin didn't dodge and attacked every enemy he saw. Those who stretched out their arms broke their arms. Those who stretched out their legs broke their legs. Those who used both their arms and legs broke their arms and legs. Very soon, there was no one in front of him to stop him. The ground was filled with screams and wails, but Fang Yin turned a blind eye to them. Fang Yin, you better know what you're doing right now. Lu Shu snorted. I've never been more clear-headed than now. Fang Yin said, if I had beaten you up just now, I'm afraid the current situation would be better. Lu Shu stared coldly at Fang Yin, who was displaying his invincible might. The two women beside him, one on his left and the other on his right, looked terrified. Fang Yin walked in front of Lu Chaoga, picked her up, and quickly walked toward the private room. Bang! Fang Yin kicked open an empty private room and threw Lu Chaoga's body on the sofa inside the private room. His eyes were bloodshot, and he shouted hoarsely, Lu Chaoga, how long are you going to use me? Chapter 152. Her long hair was tangled and looked very messy, and it was wet and scattered over her shoulders. His face and forehead had several cuts of different depths, and each cut was oozing out thick or thin wisps of blood. Her clothes were soaked, and the white shirt on her upper body was in a translucent state, and the black bra inside was faintly discernible. The silver-gray pencil skirt was tightly ironed on her body, perfectly outlining the exquisite curves, and naked tempted the eyes of the onlookers. In the process of falling and rolling, 2 buttons on her shirt were pulled out, and a big hole was torn in the pencil skirt. They were barely able to cover the important parts of her body, but there was still a large area of her snow-white skin exposed in the air. The independent private room, the wet mature woman, the torn expensive clothes, and even the wounds on her face and knees were the culprits that triggered a man's adrenaline rush. The bag that Lu Chaoga carried with her was gone, and her cell phone, keys, and other items were also gone. She had nothing on her now, and was just an unlucky woman who was injured. Fang Yin threw her body on the sofa with great force, and, in the process of flying and falling in the air, it once again affected her sprained leg bone and waist. She put her hands on the sofa, gritted her teeth, and sat up little by little. She had to sit up, and she had to straighten her back so that she could look more dignified and strong. She didn't want to be a yes man, and she was even more disdainful of using a woman's natural softness and weakness to win a man's sympathy. Lu Chaoga sat up straight and combed her hair with her fingers, preventing the long hair from covering her face and eyes. She looked at Fang Yin calmly and said, I'm also very sad that he's dead. I'm very sorry, and I don't know how to apologize and make up for it. What's the use of apologizing? He's already dead. What's the use of apologizing? Fang Yin roared. What are you going to use to make up for it? Can you be his parents' son? Can you replace him as his wife's husband and child's father? Lu Chaoga, you're not omnipotent. You can't do anything. Yes, Lu Chaoga said. I can't do anything. He couldn't even protect his own life. I'm just a nobody, just like that security guard. Lu Chaoga, what exactly do you want? Fang Yin stared coldly at Lu Chaoga and said with hatred, How many times have I told you? I'm not stupid. Have you been questioning my words all this time? I can joke about everything, but I will never joke about my intelligence and my life with you. You think I don't know what you've done? What do I have to do with you? Did I hold your hand? Did I touch your breasts? Did I have sex with you? I didn't do anything, Why does Jiang Zhulu view me as a mortal enemy? Why do so many people want to get rid of me? Lu Chaoga, you did it on purpose. You purposely maintained a close relationship with me. You purposely pushed me out to attract the firepower for you. When I first came to school, you admired me, but you always kept your distance. What have you been doing these days? You asked Xiaoming to call me to the office every day. You pretended to discuss everything with me, big or small, even things that had nothing to do with me. Do you think I didn't suspect your motive at all? Also, who was the one who spread the rumors in school? You're the vice principal of the school. If you want to control them, would they dare to discuss these topics in the office? What do you want to say? You want to say that you didn't? Of course you didn't. You're the vice principal of the school. You're the high and mighty ice goddess. Of course you wouldn't take the initiative to run out and tell others that I'm related to Fang Yin and that we're in love. Of course you wouldn't do such a stupid thing. But do you dare to say that you didn't add fuel to the fire in the dark? You didn't let it develop? Lu Chaoga looked gloomy and kept silent. Lu Chaoga, I know what kind of woman you are. You're proud and arrogant. You never put anyone in your eyes. Although I think I'm very good, I really didn't think that I could enter your eyes. On the first day I came, Zheng Jing, your office director, reminded me to be careful and keep a distance from you. Now it seems that he wasn't all bad. That night, you leaned your head on my shoulder to intensify the conflict, right? Why? You didn't have to do that, but why did you do that? To teach those who hide in the shadows a lesson? Because you two quarreled, I became the punching bag for you to take revenge on him. Or you felt the danger, so you sped up your actions so that they would focus their attention and revenge on me? Even if you die, you want to drag me to die with you? Do I occupy such an important position in your heart? Fang Yin stretched out his hands to grab Lu Chaoga's shoulders. He asked in a disgusted tone, Lu Chaoga, say something. Give me an explanation. Give me an answer. You used me so many times and almost took away my life. You have to give me an explanation, right? Lu Chaoga calmly looked at Wen Yan's face that had become distorted at this moment. She said, You're smarter than I thought and more powerful than I expected. Since you've guessed everything, what else do you want to know? What do I want to know? I want to know everything. Fang Yin pushed Lu Chaoga to the ground. I knew you used me over and over again. In the past, I thought you were pretty and not a bad person, so I was willing to do some things for you. But now someone is dead. The security guard who was chatting with us just now is dead. He died right under our noses. You have to give me a clear explanation. Why did you do that? Who wanted to kill you? Why did they want to kill you? I also want to know who wanted to kill me. Lu Chaoga stubbornly climbed up again. A mocking smile appeared on her face. I also want to know who wanted to kill me. Where can I find the answer? Who can tell me the answer? Her eyes reddened and then became moist. If possible, also tell me, who killed my parents? Why do they want to kill them? Why? At Ooat. Fang Yan's eyes widened. He looked at Lu Chaoga in disbelief. There was actually such a thing? Lu Chaoga's parents were already gone? Wasn't she a noble daughter? Wasn't she a match for Jiang Zhulu? Their parents didn't arrange their marriage. Jiang Zhulu fell in love with Lu Chaoga at first sight. Lu Chaoga was deeply in love with a loser outside. Her parents tried to stop her lover, but in the end, the rich girl and the loser man got married. Or the lover turned into a butterfly. The former was Prince Charming, and the latter was Butterfly Lovers. Wasn't the story like this? Why was it so different from what Fang Yin had guessed? However, if Lu Chaoga's parents were already dead, then who was she living with now? How did she get her expensive clothes and luxurious cars worth millions every day? Just the salary of a vice principal shouldn't be enough to support her expenses. Fang Yin remembered clearly that the dinner tonight cost nearly 10,000 yuan. That was a month's salary for many people. What happened? Fang Yin asked in a hoarse voice. After so many years, I can't even remember what they look like. Maybe I subconsciously don't want to think about it. Because every time I think about it, Lu Chaoga's voice paused for a few seconds. It was as if she was thinking about how to phrase her words. However, she was stumped by this question. After a long time, he continued, maybe he shed too many tears when he was young, and his tears dried up. So, I don't know how to cry now. At that time, I was too young and didn't understand a lot of things. I only remember that I was still in elementary school. Annie suddenly came to school during class. She said a few words to the teacher and then took me back. That was my least favorite language class. I was so happy that I didn't have to go to class anymore. On the way back, Annie hugged me and cried nonstop. She kept talking about what to do in the future, what to do in the future. Only then did I know that my parents had passed away. They died on a trip. In the country that was known as the closest to heaven, they were robbed by gangsters. They refused to hand over their belongings, so those vicious gangsters with knives killed them all. They passed away just like that. I couldn't even see them for the last time. Auntie and King Long Tan went abroad to handle the funeral. My parents, they became a small urn. What happened after that? Fong Yin asked. After that, Annie had to go abroad to work. I was taken to live with King Long Tan, except for the years I went abroad to study and work, until now, Lu Chaoga said. What? Fong Yin frowned and asked. He felt that there was something wrong with this matter, but he couldn't tell what was wrong with it at the moment. King Long Tan is Jiang Zhulio's father? He is friends with your father? Or are you saying that your families are related? They are very good friends and business partners, Lu Chaoga said. My parents are engineers. They mainly research renewable energy. My parents invested their technology, and King Long Tan invested money. They formed a company together, which is now the famous Longta Group. I know a little about Longta Group. It started with energy technology and has developed rapidly. It is now a comprehensive business empire. In the field of energy technology, Longtu can be ranked in the top 5 in the former country and the number 1 in Lingnan. Fong Yin thought about it and said, I heard you calling King Long Tan's name. He takes care of you so much. Don't you have the slightest bit of respect for him? Chapter 153. The grace of a drop of water must be repaid with a fountain of water. After Lu Chaoga's parents passed away, King Long Tan adopted her and provided for her to eat. Logically speaking, Lu Chaoga should be grateful to the Jiang family. How could she call his name so emotionlessly? Fong Yin was very sensitive to details, so he easily found the problem in Lu Chaoga's words. You think I should be grateful to him, right? A sneer appeared on Lu Chaoga's face. Everyone in the world thinks that I should be grateful to him. If he hadn't adopted me, I would have been alone and without anyone to rely on. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been able to study abroad, and I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. If it wasn't for him, I would have nothing. I would have been a nameless, ordinary woman who couldn't even dream of having a meal at Sky Number 1. So I want to call King Long Tan my adoptive father, and I want to marry his son, Jiang Zhulu. I want to give them everything they want. I can't refuse or resist, or else I'll be disloyal, unfilial, heartless, and unjust. Is this the only way I can repay them for adopting me? Is this the only way I can be a grateful, affectionate, and righteous woman? You? Fong Yin thought for a moment, then said, You seem to be very depressed. Depressed? Lu Chaoga laughed out loud. This is depression? My parents died for no reason, but I was adopted by a family that might be the murderer. My aunt was threatened, went abroad, and never took the initiative to contact me again. When she left, she told me that she was going to the United States, but I couldn't find any trace of her being there when I went to study there. My parents own 49% of the shares in the Longta Group, but as their only heir, I've never seen any profits, only the so-called dividends that they pay into my card every year. Outsiders only see that I'm living a luxurious life, luxurious cars, and luxurious houses, so they think that the Jiang family treats me like their own child. But how much profit do they take from the company? They smile at each other every day, and they look kind and kind. One of them announced to everyone that I was the best candidate for her daughter-in-law, while the other treated me like his own daughter, not even comparable to his own son. Everyone praised her for being a good mother, and everyone praised him for being a good father. However, the more they acted like this, the more I couldn't resist them. Otherwise, you're heartless, ungrateful, and vicious. Even when I wanted to live outside, I was rejected by them. They said that living together as a family would be more intimate and warm. Should I be grateful? Lu Chaoga stared at Fong Yin and asked, Should I thank them? You said I don't know how to smile. How can I smile in such an environment? Fong Yin didn't expect Lu Chaoga's background to be so complicated, nor did he expect her to live in such a harsh environment. Even if there was no real evidence, she had already determined that the Jiang family had something to do with her parents' death. However, she could pretend that nothing had happened and live with them calmly and naturally, as if she was really a family with them. How strong and tenacious was this woman's endurance? How broad-minded was he? Fang Yin didn't think he could do it. If he stood in Lu Chaoga's position, he would have fought with them fiercely. However, Lu Chaoga did it. She was looking for evidence, and she was waiting for the best opportunity. Is this Qianglong Tan or Jiang Bia? Fang Yin said angrily. The more kind and righteous a person is on the surface, the more immoral they are when they do bad things. You said that Qianglong Tan might be the murderer of your parents. Do you have any evidence? No. Lu Chaoga shook her head. When I had the accident, I was too young. I didn't have time to see them for the last time. My aunt couldn't bring back their bodies, and only a part of their ashes was burned together. After so many years, if the other party was careful, how could I find any evidence? Your aunt might know something, Fang Yin said. Did you look for her again? Yes. Lu Chaoga said angrily. It was like she disappeared from this world. Or maybe she really disappeared. It was because I couldn't find her that I began to suspect that my parents' death might be a conspiracy. This suspicion is very reasonable, Fang Yin said. His eyes were cold, and he said with a murderous look, in other words, this car accident might have been arranged by the Jiang family. I don't know, Lu Chaoga said. All my property and connections are under their surveillance. I don't have anyone I can use. Even if I wanted to investigate something, it would be difficult to do it independently. Your appearance is a variable. Then, why did you suddenly start to use me more? You're much closer to me now than before. Because I feel danger, Lu Chaoga said. In the past, they've never urged me to marry Jiang Zhulu like this. What if we get married? I'll become a member of the Jiang family, Lu Chaoga said. In other words, the Jiang family has complete control over the Longta group? Yes, Lu Chaoga said. One of the executives in the Longta group was my father's classmate. He told me that Qianglong Tan has been quietly diluting the shares that belong to my father. Recently, he even tried to change the name of the patent that originally belonged to my parents. If the owner of the patent changed it, then it would be easy for them to kick my father and me out of the Longta group. The Lu family will no longer have anything to do with the Longta group. They really have to be tough with both hands. Fang Yin sneered. On one hand, they want you to become a member of the Jiang family. This way, it will be easier for them to control you. They will even force you to agree to change the owner of the patent. On the other hand, they take care of you in every possible way. If you jump out and fight with them for the shares, I'm afraid everyone will stand up and blame you. Fang Yin looked at Lu Chaoga and said, since they want you to become a member of the Jiang family, why did this happen today? They are here for you. They want to kill you. I don't know. Lu Chaoga shook her head. I don't know anything just like you. I have never understood them, and I don't know how to understand them. You would never be able to experience that kind of feeling. Even if everyone sat at the same table to eat, everyone's face was covered with a thick layer of film. Everything could be a disguise. Every one of them was a master of acting. I have lived in the Jiang family for so many years, so I learned to act like them. I learned to be calm and collected, and learned that no one can read my mind. This is my biggest gain. Sadness is not a reason to be forgiven. That security guard died because of me. I feel very guilty, but I have no other choice. Lu Chaoga said, I should have died with him. You helped me make the choice. You saved my life. They are insane. A living being was sent flying by them, just like that. They want to kill you and me at the same time. It doesn't matter to them whether they kill one person or 3 people. Fang Yan's anger completely exploded, and he said in a cold voice, I don't care who they are, no matter what their status is. If they want me dead, I will never let them live well. I promise. Then, you'll be used by me again. Lu Chaoga said. In the past, it was Lu Chaoga who took the initiative to drag Fang Yan into the battlefield, and she became the vanguard of this war. After the tragedy at Sky 1, Fang Yin began to take the initiative to find out the truth of the accident, and he volunteered to join the battle. Because he couldn't let the security guard die in vain, he couldn't let himself suffer such grievances. He could ignore Lu Chaoga, he could ignore the security guard, but he couldn't ignore himself. As for the process of revenge, he would be more closely allied with Lu Chaoga, and even help her bear the main artillery fire. That wasn't the most important thing. Knock, knock. Someone was knocking on the door outside. Fang Yin, come out quickly, bring Lu Chaoga out, if anything happens to her. Jiang Zhuliu's urgent voice sounded outside the room. The person inside listened. You are surrounded. This was the voice of a strange man. Don't act rashly. Let go of the hostage. Put your hands on your head and squat on the ground. We will attack in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Bang. The door of the room was kicked open, and a group of armed policemen rushed in, pointing their guns at Fang Yin and Lu Chaoga, who was hugging Fang Yin. Yes, Fang Yin and Lu Chaoga's bodies were tightly hugging each other. Lu Chaoga's body leaned weakly on the sofa, and Fang Yin's body was on top of her, one hand caressing under her clothes, the other hand holding her neck, pulling her upper body closer to him. They hugged passionately and kissed passionately. They were so unemotional, as if everything in this world had nothing to do with them. All they needed were those red lips and a scorching hot body. Gotcha! Many people subconsciously pointed their guns at the ground. Even more people widened their eyes. Didn't they say there was a kidnapper? Why did they only see a pervert? Jiang Zhuliu stood behind the crowd, seeing the scene inside the room. His eyes almost popped out of their sockets, and he pointed at Fang Yin and shouted, Fang Yin, you dare touch my woman. She is my woman, Fang Yin said without turning his head. Chapter 154. Jiang Zhuliu's pupils dilated, his chest was stuffy and hot, and his fingers were stinging. They were broken by Fang Yin. All kinds of discomfort mixed together, and he felt like his body was about to explode. The woman who grew up with him, the woman whom he regarded as his life partner and marriage partner, was now lying on the sofa in a sexy and seductive position. An annoying little wretch was pressing on top of her, using his hands and mouth to diligently study and work hard to obtain. Anyone who saw this scene would have the urge to pick up a knife and fight to the death. This should have been what he did, and he had imagined this scene countless times. But why did it turn out like this? Why was the truth so cruel and unacceptable? Kill him, Jiang Zhuliu shouted. He's a kidnapper. Kill him quickly. No one would really shoot someone. No one was stupid. How could they shoot someone just because of a sentence from the eldest young master of the Jiang family? Obviously, this was a couple who couldn't control themselves, so they found a private room to make out. What did it have to do with kidnappers kidnapping hostages? At most, they would be charged with a crime of corrupting social morals, which was not serious enough to shoot them to death. Calm down. Lu Shu walked behind Jiang Zhuliu, put his arm around his shoulders, and said, A lot of people are watching you. Don't let them look down on you. Don't let them see you as a joke. The pain in his fingers made Jiang Zhuliu sober up gradually. He stared at Fang Yin fiercely and said, Even if he's not a kidnapper, the evidence is conclusive that he beat and injured someone. Are we going to let the murderer get away with it? A middle-aged police officer came out, pointed at Fang Yin, and said, Take him away. 2 police officers quickly came over and dragged Fang Yin, who was still lying on Lu Chaoga's body, and their tongues entangled. Fang Yin looked at the middle-aged police officer and asked, What did I do that you want to take me away? Beat and seriously injured someone. Why can't we take you away? The middle-aged police officer said with a sneer. Jiang Zhuliu didn't like people, so he naturally didn't like them either. Besides, how could a guy who would drag a woman into a private room of a restaurant to have an affair be a good person? That was self-defense, Fang Yin said confidently. Are there any surveillance cameras in the hotel lobby? Yes, the hotel manager, standing outside the private room, replied in a low voice. If there is video surveillance, you can see it in the video. Someone took my girlfriend away. A group of people surrounded my girlfriend and tried to do something bad to her. They also stopped me from getting close to her. In order to protect my girlfriend, I had to take action. I did what every man in the world would do. Was this also a crime? If you want to take me away, they won't be spared either. Your girlfriend? Jiang Julio's breathing was rapid, and his eyes were bloodshot. He looked like he was about to go berserk. He said she was his girlfriend? How could his woman, his fiancée, be his girlfriend? Men! Jiang Zhulu shouted. Jiang Zhulu! The willow tree called out. Do you know what you're doing? Where did your IQ go? There are police here. What can you do to him? 10 years is not too late for a gentleman to take revenge. There will be plenty of opportunities to play him to death in the future. Why are you in such a hurry? Calm down. I can't calm down, Jiang Zhulu said. Willow, I can calm down about other things. But I can't do this. I know I look like an idiot right now. Let me go crazy for once. Just this once, no matter what the consequences are. Fang Yin crossed his arms and sneered. Do you want to beat me up? This is a society governed by law. You, Jiang Zhulu wanted to rush over and beat up Fang Yin. The willow tree hugged Jiang Zhulu and roared. Jiang Zhulu, didn't you notice? He is deliberately provoking you. He wants you to take the initiative to make a move. Don't fall for it. Jiang Zhulu knew he couldn't beat Fang Yin, and he also knew that his current behavior was impulsive and irrational. However, Fang Yin was too hateful. Revealing the fact that he was slapped in the face in public had already caused him to lose all face in the circle. Now, he actually slept with the woman he liked. Bulsh asterisk T, gentlemanly character. Bulsh asterisk T, aristocratic demeanor. Bulsh asterisk T, rationality and scheming. He just wanted to ruthlessly beat up Fang Yin. Ruthlessly beat him up. But why was it so difficult? Ever since he was young, big young Master Jiang, who was used to having everything he wanted, and everything he wanted, had never been so humiliated. After getting to know Fang Yin, he finally understood the true meaning of the phrase, life is hard. Bastard. A deep voice suddenly rang out from outside the private room. Everyone looked out and saw a middle-aged man in a black suit standing behind the crowd with a stern face. He was surrounded by a large group of assistants and bodyguards, looking extraordinary. Dad! Jiang Zhulu shouted in surprise. Uncle Jiang. Lu Shu let go of Jiang Zhulio's shoulder and took the initiative to greet Qiang Longtan. The crowd dispersed, and Qiang Longtan walked over with large strides. This was Qiang Longtan? This was the murderer who might have killed Lu Chaoga's parents? Fang Yin looked him up and down seriously. He looked at his gentle yet sharp eyes, his thick and seemingly stiff eyebrows, his well-maintained skin that shone with a bright luster, and his protruding forehead and thick lips. This was a very charming man. Both his looks and temperament were top-notch. Moreover, he gave off a sense of justice that was dignified without being angry, causing people to naturally feel fear when they saw him. This kind of man was both an official and a wealthy man. He made money from doing business, entered an official career, and got promoted. He would never live a mediocre life. Was he really the kind of man that Lu Chaoga had guessed? Qiang Longtan ignored Jiang Zhulio's shouts and Lu Shu's greetings. He walked straight to Lu Chaoga, squatted down, and asked with concern, "How are your injuries?" He had to admit that this was a very considerate and gentle father. If he hadn't heard Lu Chaoga's story just now, and if it wasn't for his preconceived feelings, he would have been conquered by Qiang Longtan's attitude towards Lu Chaoga. No wonder Lu Chaoga couldn't breathe in that kind of family. Having a father like this was really stressful. "I'm fine," Lu Chaoga said calmly. She had lived in that family for too many years and was already immune to such care. "Who did it?" Qiang Longtan asked. Lu Chaoga looked into Qiang Longtan's eyes and said, "I don't know. It's fine." Qiang Longtan patted the back of Lu Chaoga's hand gently. "I'll look into it. I'll find out who it is, no matter who it is." Qiang Longtan got up abruptly and looked at Fang Yin and the agitated Jiang Zhulu. "What's going on?" The middle-aged officer came over and explained the situation to Qiang Longtan in a low voice. Qiang Longtan frowned and said, "Jiang Zhulu is Chaoga's younger brother. He's not a stranger, and there's no way he's up to no good." Kang Long Tan's words blocked the loophole of Jiang Julio's false alarm. Understood, the middle-aged officer said. Kang Long Tan pointed at Fang Yin, then looked at Lu Chaoga and asked, "He's your friend?" "Yes," Lu Chaoga said. Chaoga's friend is also Jiang Julio's friend. There's no need to go to the police station to solve a small conflict between friends. Just let it go, Kang Long Tan said. He turned to look at Fang Yin and said, "The dead should be respected. Let's keep quiet, okay?" Fang Yin was speechless. That was a very good question. If he didn't agree, he would be disrespecting the dead, looking for trouble, and being ungrateful. It's so hard to be a human being. Fang Yin thought to himself. You want to calm things down, but have you considered how I, the murderer, feel? No problem. It's great that we can make it a small matter. The middle-aged officer was overjoyed. Now that the injured party didn't want to pursue the matter, he naturally had peace. Lu Chaoga is my daughter. My daughter was assassinated in this restaurant. You must help me find the murderer, Kang Long Tan said to the middle-aged officer this time. I don't want to wait too long. We'll try our best. We won't let Mr. Jiang down. The middle-aged officer straightened his back and said, although the person standing in front of him wasn't his immediate superior, he still felt heavy pressure. I believe you, Kang Long Tan said. The middle-aged officer wanted to laugh, but he couldn't. Kang Long Tan walked to Lu Chaoga and said in a low voice, Let's go. Let's go home. Since Kang Long Tan came to the scene, it had become his word. Everything was arranged in an orderly manner, and almost no one could raise any objections. Everyone had to agree with him. Everyone had to follow his rhythm. This was the charm of a man, the charm of having everything under control. Fang Yin suddenly felt very angry. You're a bad person, you hypocrite. Why should we listen to your arrangements? Why should we let you take the lead? Kang Long Tan was like a peerless martial arts master. As soon as you wanted to punch, the other party had already figured out your fist. As soon as you wanted to kick, he had already blocked your attack. Your actions were transparent in front of him. You were so weak and insignificant compared to him. He didn't like the feeling of being completely controlled. I have to break his control. I have to disrupt his rhythm. A voice in his heart shouted. She won't go back. Fang Yin said aloud. Kang Long Tan turned to look at Fang Yin and asked in a calm voice, Why? I haven't thought about it yet. Fang Yin said. She can't go back with you anyway. Chapter 155. Kang Long Tan narrowed his eyes at Fang Yin for a while and said, You're an interesting young man. I won't change my mind even if you compliment me, Fang Yin said with a smirk. Do I look like the kind of man who can be bought over with a few flattering words? But I don't get it. Chaoga is my daughter, and she's just been attacked. What's wrong with me taking her home to rest and letting my family take care of her? Jiang Longtan voiced his reasonable doubts. What's wrong with that? He was Lu Chaoga's legal guardian. Although Lu Chaoga was an adult now, she was still registered in the national file system. If he wanted to take Lu Chaoga home as her foster father, everyone would support his decision. She's your daughter and my girlfriend. She's half of my spine, the air and sunshine of my life. Just now, right under my nose, an off-road vehicle rushed over and almost took her away from me. Can you understand how I feel right now? Can you understand how I feel when I've lost her and found her again? I don't want to be apart from her for even a second. I want to keep an eye on her and make sure she's fine. Otherwise, I'll have nightmares at night. Lu Chaoga darted a strange look at Fang Yin and thought that he was the only one who could say something like that. Kang Long Tan said after some hesitation, That's a very convincing reason. Thank you for your consideration. But I'm still taking Chaoga with me, said Kang Long Tan. At a time like this, what she needs most is her parents' company, not a bastard who's trying to take advantage of her. Chaoga, shall I go back? Lu Chaoga shook her head and said in a hoarse voice, I'm going back to school. This was the first time she had turned down Kang Long Tan's arrangement. She had never done something like this before. Kang Long Tan was stunned. He didn't expect Lu Chaoga to stand on Fang Yin's side so firmly. It's quieter there, Lu Chaoga explained. I understand. Kang Long Tan nodded with difficulty. Take care of yourself. Dad, how can you let him take Chaoga away? Jiang Zhulu shouted. This is a despicable and shameless person. When we came in just now, he was... Shut up. Qiang Longtan snapped. Go back. Qiang Longtan shifted his gaze to Lu Chaoga again and said, Shall we talk? Although I know that the timing isn't right and the environment isn't right, there are some words that I don't want to let pass the night. Sure, Lu Chaoga said. The unrelated people all left, and the private room was cleared. Fang Yin took off his coat and draped it over Lu Chaoga's shoulders before he left as well. Qiang Longtan only wanted to talk to Lu Chaoga. Are you thirsty? Qiang Longtan asked. He went to the fridge in the corner of the private room and took out a bottle of cold water. Holding it in his hand, he said, The water's too cold. Drink it later. Lu Chaoga didn't say a word. She only gripped Fang Yin's coat tightly, hoping to get some warmth. Qiang Longtan found the remote control for the air conditioner and turned it on. The room quickly warmed up as the ambience was released. Only then did Qiang Longtan sit down across from Lu Chaoga. Looking into Lu Chaoga's eyes, he said honestly, I know. You blame me and you hate me. The surprise in Lu Chaoga's eyes flashed away, and she returned to calmness in an instant. This opening was too direct, and she was caught unprepared. You've always suspected me. You suspect that your parents' death is closely related to me. You don't have to deny it. I know what you're thinking from the strange and wary look in your eyes. A long time ago, I wanted to find an opportunity for us father and daughter to sit together and have a good chat. I'll tell you my thoughts to clear up your misunderstanding of me. But I'm usually too busy with work, and so is yours. We don't have much time to eat together. I wanted to find a time to talk alone, but it's been delayed until now. Qiang Longtan shook his head and smiled bitterly, saying, As a father, I've failed in my duty. I've let down your parents' trust. Actually, it's been so many years. Some things can't necessarily be explained clearly. What happened to your parents still pains me to this day. They were my best friends and talented business partners. Chaoga, you don't know business, so you don't understand how great their departure was for me and Longta Group. We haven't been able to recover to this day. Yes, we haven't been able to recover to this day. We could have done better. We should have been number one in all of Huaxia. But we used to be the world's leading biotechnology company, and now we're being surpassed by others. Can you understand how I felt back then? It wasn't just my hard work, it was your parents as well. We drank and talked so many times, and we were both filled with hope for the future. We said that we wanted to do our best, to be the best number one in the world. But because of their departure, I couldn't accomplish the goal I set on my own. They're very important to me, and just like you, I don't want to be separated from them. I didn't want to talk about it in front of you, because I thought it would be too cruel for you. You're just an innocent girl, and you shouldn't have to bear all that. You shouldn't have to bear all that pain. I hope that you can forget it, just remember it, but not be sad. I hope that you can become a member of the Jiang family. We'll do everything that parents should do for you. We'll give you everything that your parents can give you. I hope that we can take care of you and protect you for them. I hope that everyone can live a peaceful and happy life. Even if it's a little incomplete, everyone will still be happy. I hope that I can do that for you. Qiang Longtan unscrewed the cap of a bottle of warm water and handed it to Lu Chaoga. Why would I hurt them? If it's for the sake of profit, they can stay alive and help me lead the research team. Our Longta Group can become number one in Huaxia and number one in the world. Isn't that more beneficial to me? Lu Chaoga opened her mouth, but she didn't know what to say. He had this kind of ability. He could always see through your thoughts and accurately pinpoint your acupuncture points, making it impossible for you to have any thoughts of resistance. You're one with us. You're a member of the Jiang family, and also a member of our Longta Group. You're my daughter, Jiang Julio's sister. I know that you don't want to marry him. If you don't want to, then don't. It's been so many years. When have I ever forced you? Have I ever said anything harsh to you? No, Lu Chaoga said. Ren Jin often said that they should be together, but Qiang Longtan had always been against it. Although you've never been to the company, you still hold 49% of Longta Group's shares. This is the distribution plan that your father and I discussed when we founded the company. Your parents are gone, so you're their only legal heir. So, these 49% shares will automatically be transferred to your name. I've tried to persuade you many times. When you were in school, I told you to study business management so that you could take on more responsibilities in the company. After you graduated, I also persuaded you to work at Loan to Group. You could be my assistant for the time being, and I'd teach you everything I know about management. What I said is still valid. Whenever you want to return a Loan to, you can do so. I told you it's mine, and it's yours as well. Even Jiang Zhulu isn't as influential as you are in Loan 2. I know there will be rumors, but they're just rumors. I've always ignored them because we're a family. Because we're a family, if we try to explain such a strange thing seriously, it'll pull the distance between us even further. Chaoga. King Long Tan looked at Lu Chaoga lovingly and said helplessly, I know you're not happy in the Jiang family, and I know you're under a lot of pressure. To be honest, I'm not happy either, and I'm under a lot of pressure. I've tried my best to be good to you, but I've found that it doesn't make us closer. Instead, it's like a double-edged sword that cuts you and makes you feel like you can't breathe. It also cuts me and makes me feel like all my efforts are in vain. King Longton looked at Lu Chaoga and asked, Chaoga, what do you think I should do? Tell me, what should I do? Jiang Longtu was usually strict, powerful, wise, controlling, and tolerant. It was as if there was no problem in the world that he couldn't solve, and he wouldn't change his expression even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of him. At this moment, King Long Tan was anxious and exhausted, which was something he had never shown before. Lu Chaoga's mind was in a mess. What was the truth? What was the cause of her parents' death? Was it really because they met some local scum on a holiday and were killed by them? Where was her aunt? Could it be that her suspicion of the Jiang family and her hatred for King Long Tan were all wrong? That they weren't the murderers she thought they were? Was that their concern for her genuine, and all those years of care were also genuine? Countless questions swirled in her mind, and she couldn't find an answer to them. King Long Tan smiled and said, You're suspicious because we haven't done a good enough job. Time will tell a person's heart. Don't be in a hurry to make a decision. All right, I think the guy outside must be getting impatient. He doesn't look bad. He has the guts to resist my arrangements, which is much better than Jiang Zhulu. If he treats you badly, tell me, and I'll make him suffer too. Chapter 156. You shouldn't have come. Jiang Zhulu sat in the back seat and said calmly. What? King Long Tan had his eyes closed, and his voice wasn't very clear, as if he was in a half-asleep state. Lu Chaoga suspects us. She has always thought that the Jiang family is the culprit behind her parents' death. She was attacked, and you immediately ran over. What would she think? What would others think? Jiang Zhulu raised his doubts. Oh, then tell me, what would she think? What would others think? Lu Chaoga thinks that you rushed over in a hurry to distance yourself from this matter, which is a blatant lie. The others probably have the same thoughts as Lu Chaoga. Jiang Zhulu analyzed. Lu Chaoga is my favorite daughter. She was in such a big accident, and I received one call after another. If I didn't rush over, what would she think? What would others think? King Long Tan asked. This sudden incident had indeed pushed King Long Tan into a dilemma. Just as Jiang Zhulu suspected, as soon as something happened to Lu Chaoga, he hurriedly ran over. It was as if he wanted to prove that he was innocent and that he wasn't the one who did it. However, if he didn't come, Lu Chaoga and the others would have other thoughts. His most beloved daughter had been in such a car accident, and so many people had called to inform him of the situation, but King Long Tan didn't care. What was he running away from? Jiang Zhulu thought about it and said in annoyance, So, the father and son of the Jiang family can't be good people? Whether we did it or not, we can't get rid of the suspicion. Yes, King Long Tan said. That's too much. Who bullied you? The difference between a good chef and an ordinary chef is that they can control the degree of cooking, the degree of heat, and the degree of seasoning. If a big fire is too bad, a small fire will make it better. If it's too tasteless, it's too salty and hard to swallow. King Long Tan said. Jiang Zhulu looked into his father's eyes and asked, What do you want to say? I've acted. Jiang Zhulu's expression instantly became stiff. Lu Chaoga's clothes had been soaked by the rain, and her whole body was in pain. It was difficult for her to even walk normally. Under the arrangement of the middle-aged police officer, the two of them made separate statements, and then they were released to rest. Fong Yin wanted to send Lu Chaoga to the hospital, but Lu Chaoga refused. She just wanted to go back, take a bath, change into clean clothes, and have a good sleep. She just wanted to go back, take the bath, changed, and have a good sleep. The school gave this house to Lu Chaoga, and Lu Zhuge had. The school gave this house to Lu Chaoga, but Lu Chaoga had never lived in it. She didn't want to waste the space, so she planted a lot of flowers and plants in the yard. Sometimes when she was really bored, she would come here quietly and cut a pot of flowers or cut a few pieces of grass to give her body and mind a place to relax and rest. Later, Fong Yin appeared. Because of his innovation, he offended Li Mingqiang and the others, so he didn't even get a single room in the school. In order to buy people's hearts, Lu Chaoga offered to lend him the house temporarily. After Fong Yin moved in, Lu Chaoga didn't come here easily to avoid arousing suspicion. Soon, Fong Yingying and Fong Haohan also moved in. Fong Yin parked the car in the parking lot, then quickly walked over to open the door of the back compartment. Lu Chaoga sat in the seat and couldn't move. Several times, she wanted to stretch her legs, but she twisted her ankle and waist. She was in so much pain that she gasped. "I'll carry you," Fong Yin said. "No need." Lu Chaoga refused. Although it was late at night, there would still be teachers and students in this area. If Fong Yin carried her back and met familiar teachers or students, they wouldn't be able to clear their names even if they jumped into the Yellow River. "Do you have any other choice?" As Fong Yin spoke, one of his hands had already reached under her calf, and the other hand was holding her waist. With a little force, he lifted Lu Chaoga's voluptuous body. "I'm doing this for your own good." Fong Yin closed the car door with his foot, then pressed the lock button on the key and walked quickly to the small courtyard where they lived. Whatever he said would happen, and what he feared would happen. Fong Yin and Lu Chaoga were afraid of meeting any acquaintances. They didn't expect to meet Li Mingqiang, who was also coming out of the parking lot, when they just got out of the parking lot. Lu Chaoga buried her face in Fong Yin's chest, pretending that no one could recognize her. Fong Yin couldn't avoid it, so he could only smile at Li Mingqiang awkwardly. Li Mingqiang was stunned for a moment. Then he walked quickly to Fong Yin and asked, "Mr. Fong, did you just come back from outside? What's wrong with Principal Lu? Are you okay?" Lu Chaoga really wanted to die this time. Fong Yin also felt that this old guy didn't know how to speak. At this time, couldn't you pretend that you didn't recognize who this woman was? Did you have to expose him in public? Principal Lu's leg was injured. He can't walk. Fong Yin explained. "Injured? Is it serious? Do you want to send him to the hospital?" Li Mingqiang asked with a worried face, as if his important family was injured. Fong Yin looked at him with doubt and immediately understood his mind. Fong Yin was able to negotiate with Zheng Tianqing successfully, thanks to the video provided to him by Li Mingqiang's son, Liang. At that time, Liang recorded the video just to please Zheng Guodong, but he didn't expect to be interrupted by Zhu Jian, who suddenly rushed in by mistake. At that time, the scene was too chaotic, and Liang forgot about the video. Later, when the incident broke out, and Zhu Jian was wronged and left, Liang didn't dare to take out the video. For some reason, he didn't destroy the video. Later, on the top of Xinxia Mountain, Zheng Guodong, Liang, and Chun Tao were killed, and Fong Yin went down with a rattan rope to rescue them one by one. From that time on, Liang and Chun Tao's attitude towards Fong Yin changed. But because of this, there was a gap between them and Zheng Guodong. The distance between the three people was getting farther and farther. After Fong Yin found Liang and Chun Tao, he did some ideological education work, and Liang finally gave the video to Fong Yin. At that time, he gave Fong Yin a 500G hard disk. When Fong Yin took it, he was shocked, thinking that Zheng Guodong was so heartless that there was so much evidence in the hands of Liang. Later, when he opened it, he found that it was just a video of a few minutes. Out of the same mentality, he walked into Zheng Tianqing's office with the 500G hard disk. When Zheng Tianqing took the hard disk, his heart was probably beating very fast, right? Although Fang Yin didn't admit it, it wasn't difficult for Zheng Tianqing and Zheng Guodong to guess the source of the video. Li Mingqiang lost Zheng Tianqing's trust, and his position as the head of teaching was in jeopardy. Zhu Jian, who had been expelled from the school, returned in a high-profile manner and became his assistant. This arrangement made him even more worried. Therefore, it was a very urgent matter to find another life-saving thigh to hug. However, in the whole of Rosefinch Secondary, did he have any other choice? Now, it was not strange that he treated Fang Yin and Lu Chaoga like this. It's not serious. I just need to apply some medicine, Fang Yin said. Lu Chaoga didn't say anything. Since she didn't say anything from the beginning, she might as well keep silent. If she spoke at this time, it would be easier to fall into an awkward situation. Yes. Hurry up and apply the medicine. Li Mingqiang said, I have some golden chrysalis muscle nourishing powder at home. It is said that it was personally made by the Dr. King Qin Luo using wild golden chrysalis. I will go back and get it. You help Principal Lu apply it. With Principal Lu's character and appearance, it would be a pity if there was a scar on his leg. This is a big deal, and it can't be delayed. Fang Yin could not reject the other party's good intentions. Moreover, if Li Mingqiang could stand on Lu Chaoga's side from now on, it would also give Lu Chaoga a big help in Rosefinch. Besides, Fang Yin did Oli Yang a favor. Thank you, Director Li, Fang Yin said with a smile. We are all colleagues. No need to be polite. Li Mingqiang waved his hand and said, You send Principal Lu back to rest. I will go back and get the medicine. I will send the medicine to you later. After Li Mingqiang finished, he trotted to the front. Fang Yin shook his head gently. Everyone's life was not easy. Fang Yingying and Fang Haohan had already had dinner and were doing the routine standing training in the yard. Seeing Fang Yin coming in with a woman in his arms, both of them were surprised. They hadn't seen each other for a while, and Junior Martial Uncle's behavior was so open. Fang Yingying hurriedly greeted him and said, Junior Martial Uncle, do you need my help? Yes, Fang Yin said. With Fang Yin's affirmative answer, Fang Yingying hurriedly ran over to help Fang Yin carry Lu Chaoga. Fang Yin turned around with Lu Chaoga's body in his arms, avoided Fang Yingying's kindness, and said, Help me close the door. Fang Yingying was stunned for a moment. Just this? He was stunned for a moment, and hurriedly ran over to close the courtyard door. Fang Yin came to the living room with Lu Chaoga in his arms. Looking at her wet clothes, he said, Take a bath and change your clothes first. When Director Li comes, I will help you apply the medicine. Since he has the golden chrysalis muscle nourishing powder, we shouldn't refuse his kindness. After saying this, he realized that the real problem had appeared. Lu Chaoga couldn't take a bath, and there was no change of clothes. Chapter 157. Lu Chaoga's ankles and waist were injured, and it was very difficult for her to walk. How could she bathe in the bathroom, standing up? Although this house was designed as a villa, the designer didn't equip every bathroom with a bathtub. As for changing clothes, it was even more lacking. Lu Chaoga hadn't lived here before. Fang Yin, Fang Yingying, and Fang Haohan were all men. They were willing to contribute their own clothes, but Lu Chaoga had to be willing to wear them first. Fang Yin looked embarrassed. He thought that he should have let her go back with Qiang Longtan. However, since he snatched her today, he had to be responsible for her. Fang Yin looked at Lu Chaoga and said, Bathing is not a problem. I can help you. But there are no suitable clothes for you at home. Well, I will ask Fang Yingying to go out and buy them for you. What size clothes do you wear? Do you need to buy underwear and panties? Yes. Tell me the number so I can buy suitable clothes. Fang Yingying was very happy. After coming out, not only could he see beautiful women, but he could also buy underwear and panties for beautiful women. It was still more promising to follow Junior Martial Uncle. Lu Chaoga looked at Fang Yin strangely, but she didn't answer his question. You look at me like this. Do you not want to answer, or are you embarrassed to answer? Fang Yin thought for a while and said, It seems that you are embarrassed to answer. It doesn't matter. We have a lot of contact. I also have some superficial understanding of your figure. I will go out and buy clothes for you later. It shouldn't be too far off. Lu Chaoga still didn't speak. She didn't know what to say. Such a private topic of women made her very embarrassed. On the other hand, even if she felt that this topic was weird, she couldn't refuse it completely. She really needed a clean set of clothes to change out of her drenched, torn clothes. Li Mingxiang came very quickly. Not only did he bring along the golden chrysalis muscle nourishing powder made by the physician king, he also brought along 2 old ginsengs. It was said that it would take 100 days for the tendons and bones to recover. Since Principal Lu was injured, he needed to eat something nutritious to nourish his body. Not only did Principal Lu need to nourish his body, but Fang Yan also felt that he should nourish his brain. Recently, he had been doing too much brain work. He felt that his IQ was not enough. Therefore, he accepted Li Mingxiang's kindness very quickly. This made Li Mingxiang worry that Fang Yan would refuse the gift, so the words he had specially thought of were completely useless. You wouldn't know how to deal with a man who was too forthright. Fang Yan took the ointment box, opened the cap, and sniffed it. Inside was a brown herbal ointment with a strange animal scent. It looked really good. The smell is very pure. The aroma of the golden chrysalis assails my nose. It is much stronger compared to the one sold in the market, Fang Yan said with a smile. It should be made by the physician king himself. Even if it's not, this golden chrysalis is the real deal. Li Mingxiang, who usually gave the impression of being serious and inflexible, had a smile on his face. He praised, Mr. Fang, you have good eyesight. This thing was given by a friend with a very high status. It's rare to see it outside. After confirming the authenticity of the ointment, Fang Yan squatted down and lifted Lu Chaoga's calf and placed it on his knee. He gently stroked it with his fingers and asked, Does it hurt here? No. Here. No. Here. It's very painful. Fang Yan carefully massaged the part where Lu Chaoga was in pain. After she gradually adapted to this level of contact, he suddenly lifted her heel up. Kacha! A crisp sound was heard. The dislocated part of Lu Chaoga's ankle was fixed by Fang Yan. Lu Chaoga screamed. She frowned in pain and was sweating profusely. It's fixed, Fang Yan said. Although I don't have the skill of the physician king, it's not difficult for me to fix a bone. He took a large ball of ointment from the ointment box and put it in his palm. Then he covered the injured part of Lu Chaoga's foot with it and gently massaged it again. He didn't stop until her skin turned red and the ointment was completely absorbed. Fang Yan looked at the wounds on Lu Chaoga's leg and other parts of her body and said, Take a bath first. I'll apply the ointment on your body after the bath. After the ointment, you can have a good rest. Lu Chaoga nodded and said, Okay. Li Mingxiang was shocked when he heard that Fang Yan was going to apply the ointment on Lu Chaoga's body. He had heard that there was an affair between Fang Yan and Lu Chaoga before, but he didn't believe it at all. The senior management of the school knew something about Lu Chaoga's background. With the great master of the Jiang family standing behind him, who dared to compete with him for a woman? But now he had to believe it. Had the relationship between the two developed to such an intimate level? He quickly reflected in his heart. He shouldn't have offended Fang Yan too much, right? Li Mingxiang felt that he couldn't stay any longer. Wouldn't he be disturbing others who were busy with their business if he stayed? He hurriedly said goodbye to Lu Chaoga and Fang Yan and said, Principal Lu, take a good rest and recuperate. Put aside your work first. If there's anything I can do for you, don't be polite to me. This was a show of loyalty, so Lu Chaoga had no choice but to respond. Whether it was to accept or reject, she had to show him her attitude. Lu Chaoga looked at Li Mingxiang and nodded. Thank you, Mingxiang. I still need your support in my work in the future. Li Mingxiang's eyes lit up. He looked 10 years younger all of a sudden. He said excitedly, Principal Lu, this is what I should do. His position was saved. From today onwards, he was Lu Chaoga's man. After Li Mingxiang left, Lu Chaoga looked at Fang Yan and asked, Do you think he could be used? He couldn't before, but he can now, Fang Yan said. He used to be Zhang Tianqing's man. With such a thick thigh to cling to, he naturally wouldn't put us in his eyes. But now the person who wants to kick him away the most is Zhang Tianqing. So, he can only cling to your thigh. Cling to your thigh, Lu Chaoga said. To be able to successfully negotiate with Zhang Tianqing and send his son to the juvenile detention center, it either proves that you have a background or you have something on Zhang Tianqing. What reason does he have not to stand on your side? He is our thigh, Fang Yin said with a smile. Rest for a while. I'll go buy clothes for you. After buying clothes, I'll help you bathe. Or you can ask Fang Yingying and Fang Haohan to help. I'll wait for you to come back, Lu Chaoga said while gritting her teeth. She secretly regretted it. Why did she agree to come back with this scoundrel? Fang Yin smiled and said goodbye to Fang Yingying and Fang Haohan. He asked the two brothers to take care of Lu Chaoga and then went out to do some shopping. Fang Yingying ran to Lu Chaoga and said, Principal Lu, do you want some water? Thank you, Lu Chaoga said. Thank you. Do you want to drink it or not? Fang Yingying asked. Lu Chaoga felt depressed and wanted to vomit blood. She heard these two guys called Fang Yin and Junior Martial Uncle. It seemed that they were from the same sect. What was the saying again? If you're not a family, you don't enter the same door. Their character was so despicable. Seeing that Lu Chaoga didn't speak, Fang Yingying urged, Principal Lu, you have to give a definite answer. Do you want to drink it or not? Yes, Lu Chaoga said. Fang Yingying turned around and shouted, Hero, pour water. So, the dull Fang Haohan really ran to pour water. The chubby Fang Yingying still stood in front of Lu Chaoga and refused to leave. He asked innocently, Principal Lu, are you the leader of Junior Martial Uncle? We're friends too. Junior Martial Uncle's friend. That's our little martial aunt, Fang Yingying said happily. Little martial aunt, can you find us a job? You see, Hero and I are so big. It's not a good idea to stay at home all day, right? Lu Chaoga collected her thoughts and looked at Fang Yingying seriously. She asked, What do you want to do? I can't teach Chinese, mathematics, and English. Fang Yingying thought about it and said, How about I teach physical education with Fang Haohan? We're good at it. Do you have a teacher certificate? Lu Chaoga asked. Fang Yingying shook his head and said no. Do you have a bachelor's degree? None. I can't help you, Lu Chaoga said. Fang Yingying's face was full of regret. He said, You see, it's not that I don't want to find a job, but the employment situation is too serious. You can't despise us for following Junior Martial Uncle to eat and drink. Why should I despise you? Lu Chaoga asked curiously. Fang Yingying looked at Lu Chaoga as if he was looking at an idiot and said, You were carried back by Junior Martial Uncle. Aren't you our little martial sister-in-law? If you become our little martial sister-in-law, won't you despise Junior Martial Uncle for taking care of us who can't rely on ourselves? Many women will despise us. I never thought of despising you. I never thought of becoming your martial sister-in-law, Lu Chaoga said. Are I really close to Fang Yin to this extent? Everyone who sees them thinks they should be a couple. Fang Yingying and Fang Haohan looked at each other, and they both grinned. Fang Yingying said, I'm relieved to hear that. Actually, Junior Martial Uncle is a good person, but I don't think he's worthy of you. He has no sense of responsibility and likes to avoid some things. Fang Haohan followed up. Chapter 158. When Fang Yin came back with big and small bags of shopping, he felt that Lu Chaoga looked at him with a strange look. Fang Yin thought that Lu Chaoga was embarrassed to let a man buy this kind of underwear for her. He said with a smile, It doesn't matter. You will get used to it in the future. Fang Yin thought about it and felt that there was something wrong with what he had said. Get used to it in the future. Was she used to letting men buy underwear, or was she used to letting herself buy underwear and underwear? It was estimated that Lu Chaoga didn't like either. However, he didn't dare to dwell on this problem. He said, Come, let me help you to take a bath first. Lu Chaoga sat still and asked calmly, How do I wash? She couldn't let Fang Yin help her take a bath, but if Fang Yin didn't help her, she couldn't take a bath. This was really a very complicated and headache-inducing problem. I will move a chair in. I will help you adjust the water temperature first. You should be able to sit on the chair and wash slowly, right? After experiencing so many things tonight, Fong Yin didn't have the mood to joke, so he reported his ideas truthfully. Okay. Lu Chaogo was very satisfied with this solution and nodded. Fong Yin first put a wooden chair under the shower head in the bathroom, then carried Lu Chaoga to the chair in the bathroom and asked, "Is this okay?" "Yes." Lu Chaoga looked at the layout of the bathroom and tried not to look at Fong Yan's eyes. "I will go out first." "Okay. Call me if you need anything," said Fong Yan. When Fong Yin came out, Fong Yingying and Fong Haohan were looking in the direction of the bathroom. "What are you two doing?" Fong Yin whispered to avoid being heard by Lu Chaoga, who was taking a bath inside. Otherwise, she would have thought that someone was peeping outside. Fong Yingying jogged over and said with a smile, "Junior Marshal Uncle, I have a very important question to discuss with you." "What problem?" Fong Yin asked. "How are you going to sleep tonight?" Fong Yingying asked. "How do I sleep? Whoever sleeps with whom? Who's sleeping with who?" Fong Yingying explained even more clearly. Fong Yin stared at Fong Yingying and said, "What do you mean?" Fong Yingying and Fong Haohan looked at each other. Fong Haohan continued to pretend to be a corpse in silence. Fong Yingying had no choice but to say, "Junior Marshal Uncle, we only have 2 rooms with 2 beds, and then I'll share a room with Fong Yingying. Then you and Principal Lu, will you also sleep in the same room?" "How is that possible?" Fong Yin said angrily. "Principal Lu and I are just colleagues. It can also be a simple relationship of sleeping in the same bed." "Pa!" Fong Yin slapped Fong Yingying's head and said angrily, "Fong Yingying, how can you have such an idea? Why are your thoughts so wretched? The men of our Fong family practice martial arts and are indomitable. They're the real heroes who protect the country. I didn't say that I can't be wretched," Fong Yingying said with a sad face while holding his head. "Besides, this problem is urgent. We must solve it as soon as possible. Otherwise, when Principal Lu comes out, where will we put her? There's another solution. You sleep in a room alone. Principal Lu will sleep with us. You will definitely not agree." Fong Yin stared at Fong Yingying and sneered. Fong Yingying had a bad premonition and said, "Junior Marshal Uncle, what do you want to do?" Fong Yingying, when you and Fong Haohan first came, didn't you say that you only need a place to stay? I can satisfy you of that. Not only can I let you stay, but I can also let you sleep. I don't care if you sleep in the living room or on the roof. Anyway, you have to give up your room," Fong Yin said very strongly. "Junior Marshal Uncle, you know that Fong Haohan and I don't like to take a bath. Our room smells. It's not suitable for you or Principal Lu to sleep in." Fong Yingying wanted to save the situation. "It doesn't matter. Principal Lu will sleep in my room, and I will sleep in your room. My nose is stuffed recently, so I probably can't smell anything. If it doesn't work, I can put 2 moon grass pills into my nostrils to purify the air." "Junior Marshal Uncle, it's decided," Fong Yin said. After listening to Fong Yan's decision, Fong Haohan was very dissatisfied with Fong Yingying. He said in a low voice, "Who asked you to speak ill of Junior Marshal Uncle behind his back? Now you're getting what you deserve." Fong Yan's eyes were cold, and he said angrily, "Fong Yingying, what did you say about me?" Fong Haohan, shut up. Fong Yingying felt that he was going crazy. Don't be afraid of a godlike opponent, but be afraid of a pig-like teammate. Fong Haohan, you idiot. No matter how good your knife skills are, you can't just wave the knife and stab randomly. Don't you know that people will die? After stopping Fong Haohan from speaking casually, Fong Yingying looked at Fong Yin with a flattering face and said, "Junior Marshal Uncle, how dare I speak ill of you behind your back? Just now, when you went out to buy things, Fong Haohan and I casually chatted with Principal Lu. I said that although Principal Lu is beautiful, has a very elegant temperament, a good character, is talented and capable, and knows how to be filial to her parents. But if she wants to be with you, she always feels that something is missing." "What is missing?" Fong Yin asked. "Domineering," Fong Yingying said. "Miss Ye's domineering attitude, that if you are not convinced, I will beat you until you are convinced." Fong Yingying, Fang Yin stared at Fang Ying fiercely and said, "That kind of despicable, shameless, barbaric, and violent behavior can be considered domineering?" Fang Ying looked at Fang Yin timidly and did not dare to speak. "Ask you a question," Fang Yin said angrily. "Tell me, is her behavior considered domineering?" "It is quite domineering." Fang Ying braced himself and said, "Although I have not fought with Miss Yi, it makes my blood boil just watching from the side. Junior Martial Uncle is so powerful, but he was beaten away by her." Fang Haohan stabbed again. "Everyone says that she is the #1 master in Jianghu." Fang Yan's face turned white, then red, then purple, and finally returned to its natural color. Fang Yin looked at Fang Ying and Fang Haohan expressionlessly and said, "I haven't checked your homework for a long time. Tonight, each of you will practice the plum blossom steps 50 times, and you're not allowed to sleep until you finish." Fang Ying and Fang Haohan's expressions were aghast. Fang Ying said hurriedly, "Junior Martial Uncle, it will be dawn by the time you finish the plum blossom steps 50 times, if that's the case." Fang Yin sneered. "Doesn't it solve the problem of who sleeps who?" Fang Yin. Lu Chaoga called Fang Yan's name in the bathroom. "I'm coming," Fang Yin replied. They couldn't afford to set up a morning hall or buy a tomb. There was only an incense table and a black and white photo for people to worship at the door of the rented house. The sparse number of guests came, offered an incense stick, and left after saying a few words of comfort without any warmth. No one was willing to stay for too long. He was just a small security guard. Who would really take him seriously? He was alive and unknown. Even if he died, he couldn't make any waves. This was the fate of most people in the world. Because Lu Jinju was a migrant worker in Huacheng, he had no relatives here. A middle-aged woman cried on the bed, her voice sad and heart-wrenching. A white-haired old woman with swollen eyes was leaning against the corner of the wall. She could no longer make any sound. She was holding a little boy who looked like he had just turned 1 month old tightly in her arms. The little boy was also affected by the surrounding atmosphere. He opened his mouth and screamed. Lu Jinju brought his wife to Huacheng to work to earn money. Lu Jinju's wife got pregnant and gave birth. Lu Jinju's mother came to help take care of the child. Like countless ordinary families, they lived ordinary lives. They were poor and bitter, but when the child cried, laughed, and screamed, it was all their happiness. Lu Jinju died, leaving behind a house full of orphans and widows. The sky was falling. A fat woman wearing a checkered shirt stood at the door and cursed. She shouted with a sharp voice, "You bunch of country bumpkins. What does the death of your family have to do with me? If they're dead, then they're dead. Throw them far away and bury them. What right do you have to set up a mourning hall in my house? You unlucky people, hurry up and move out. Scram as far as you can. I won't refund your deposit. You messed up my house like this. If people find out, how can I rent out my house? Move out immediately. You have to move. If you don't move, I'll get someone to move it for you. Hurry up and move all those broken things away. I feel bad just by looking at them." A middle-aged man wearing a white shirt stood beside the woman. He was comforting her softly, but the woman in the checkered shirt ignored him. She continued to curse loudly. Her sharp and harsh voice told Lu Jinju's wife and mother to move out quickly. Whoosh! A handful of money suddenly appeared in front of the woman. "If they can't shut you up, I'll stuff them into your anus." A cold voice rang in the woman's ears. Chapter 159. The woman in the checkered shirt opened her mouth wide in surprise. She looked at the handsome man in the suit and leather shoes in front of her in disbelief. Although the content of his words is very rude, but the way he gives money is really handsome, the woman thought in her heart. This man was simply her idol, Prince Charming. Of course, probably all women like this kind of idol, Prince Charming, right? Why do you want to give me money? The woman asked vigilantly. She liked money, but she knew that not all money could be taken away casually. Moreover, from the way these men dressed, she could tell that they were not so easy to provoke. I said, "I want you to shut up immediately." The man said coldly. After taking the money, immediately get out of here, as far as you can. Don't let me see you again. Lu Shu, what is there to say to this kind of woman? Jiang Zhulu came over, glanced at the middle-aged woman with disdain, and said, quickly send her away. Aren't I doing this? Lu Shu said. When Jiang Zhulu and Lu Shu were responsible for clearing the place, Qiang Long Tan, who was surrounded by his secretary and bodyguards, went straight into the rented house. He glanced at the environment of the house. The living room, bedroom, and kitchen were all connected together, piled up in this small single room that was less than 30 square meters. The bedsheet was worn, and the pillow revealed the black cotton inside. In the corner, there was a rolled-up straw mat. It should be someone who wanted to sleep on the floor at night. On the table, there was a half plate of cold cucumber and a small plate of stir-fried vegetables with shredded pork. Those were the leftovers that they were not willing to throw away. Lu Jinju worked in the most high-end restaurant in the city, but the place he lived was so narrow and shabby. The appearance of Qiang Long Tan and the others finally attracted the attention of the two women in the room. They looked at the extraordinary Qiang Long Tan in the middle of the crowd with astonishment and wondered when Lu Jinju knew such a big shot. Could it be that he was Lu Jinju's friend? They knew that it was impossible. Lu Jinju was just a small security guard. How could he be qualified to be friends with such a person? Qiang Long Tan stood at the door and bowed deeply to the two women. Then he went to the old man's side and sat down, holding the old man's old and withered hand, and said, Old man, please restrain your grief. Take care of yourself in any case. The old man looked at Qiang Long Tan and asked, Who are you? I am Lu's friend. Qiang Long Tan said, My name is Qiang Long Tan. River Dragon Pond. The old man thought for a moment and said, I've never heard Zhu Zi mention that he has a friend like you. Actually, I've never met him before, Jiang Longtan said. Your son is a very great man. Fang Yin looked at Lu Chaoga strangely and said, You really have a good father. He did everything you wanted to do. Lu Chaoga was silent. She just quietly looked at the two poor women in the room who were at a loss and the baby who was still crying in their arms. That's not enough. Lu Chaoga thought in her heart. They got the compensation, but that life was gone just like that. He was killed by a car crash. This was intentional murder. Then, blood must be paid with blood. She looked at Lu Jinju's honest, smiling face on the wall and said to herself in her heart. Fang Yan's heart was also very uncomfortable. The man who felt special because he said, sorry to trouble you. The filial man who had two dimples when he smiled. He said goodbye to the world in such a hurry. You bastards, how can you harm people like this? You set up a mourning hall in my house. If others know about it, how can I rent this house? Do you have a conscience? Move out quickly, move out immediately. The man in the checkered shirt rushed to the door of the rented room again to scold and drive them away. Shut up. Fang Yin roared angrily. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.